January the 6th, 2025. Commissioner Miller, would you mind saying the invocation for us?
Sure.
Thank you.
So by vows, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for the time together so that we can represent our citizens and represent your values, Lord, for the people. Lord, keep the people safe on the way home, and the roads might get a little icy, and thank you for all you do for us. Amen.
Amen. All right. Before we approve the agenda, I'm going to, without objection, switch items G and H under new business, put the election commission discussion last. So just making that notation on your agenda.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
G, making the election commission last.
Okay.
Item G, so switch to H. So we'll leave that one last.
Okay.
Without any objection, do I have a motion for approval? That change?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Klein, second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval of minutes. Do you have a motion?
Chairman, I didn't find them in the packet online.
They were posted under supplemental information.
Do we have?
And they should have been detailed.
Do you have a copy?
They used the copy.
Oh, I'm sorry. The main video. Okay. Principal? School's back in session.
Almost.
Just need a copy for myself, and yeah, one more for everyone. Here, already copied them. You got one?
Well, yes, I got to read them, right?
All right. Then we have the minutes, the printed minutes. Do I have an approval, a motion for approval?
On stage, I will make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones, motion by Commissioner Klein. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You're going to abstain.
Abstention by Commissioner Miller. Recognition of the public. All right, if you wouldn't mind coming up to Mr. Mike McClard first and stating your name and address for the record, we have 5 minutes.
Hey, Mike McClard, 102 Kyoto Trail. We live in the trail subdivision just beside the Liberty Creek School Complex. Just speaking to keep everybody's attention in the Brown House. The mayor's not here tonight. I was hoping he could give us an update for, I guess, 3 weeks now. We're waiting on supposedly Vanguard to send paperwork to get the old trustees off, put the new trustees on. Took 2 years to figure that out. I honestly don't see how that happens, but it did. You know, the money's sitting there. It's got to be transferred over before they can transfer it to the county, so the county can start the process. This is in February. It'll be 8 years since Mr. Brown died, unless my math is off. And nothing is still done. Honestly, the man left $500,000 to maintain the house and make a park out of it, or that'd be the feature part of the park. He left another $8 million for student technology. I'm not really sure what that means, but I'm assuming if the $500,000 is tied up in a Vanguard account, the $8 million still is. So nothing's been spent there. I think that's total. That's the word I'm looking for. Well, it should have been used. If the county's going to use it for anything, they need to use it. If it's just going to sit there and draw interest, then use the interest each year. Further the technology. I don't know what we're waiting on. I mean, technology changes every other day. So you either start spinning or you just let it sit there forever. But as far as, according to the last update I had from the mayor, I think, well, actually you guys had from the mayor that I was privy to, was that he was still waiting on paperwork. I cannot believe a company as big as Vanguard is, you can't get paperwork. somebody's dragging their feet, and I don't know, I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying somebody's dragging their feet. Either the prior trustees, the current trustee, or future trustees, or the, Vanguard itself, and being a regulated banking system that they are, I cannot believe it's them. So I very urgently request that if some type of positive answer isn't given, or excuse, use whatever word you want, either criminal or civil suit needs to be applied. I mean, somebody's holding money, and you can't do that. I mean, if there's a reason, explain what the reason is and let everybody know, and then you know where you stand. If there's not a reason, then it's either criminal or civil, and charges need to be brought one way or the other. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. All right, next up is Mr. Jim Latimer. Latimer, if you'd like to come up, state your name and address for the record, please. You have 5 minutes.
Jim Latimer, 38 Latimer Lane, Hendersonville. Thank y'all for letting us come to speak with you again. I'll try not to lucky you over the head with a bunch of history. Suffice to say that it's a very historic house with some very historic ties to it there. The house is, over 200 years old now. It was here before, or right at the time Tennessee became a state. The property was bought before Tennessee became a state. There was bloodshed for that property. Nathaniel Latimer out with a group of militia pursuing some Indians who had been rotting in the area, lost his life at Rock Island. So there's been bloodshed for that property. Mr. Brown did a great job whenever he left the money to the county, the technology fund, and preserve that house. He knew what the historic value of that house was, and he wanted it to be preserved and passed down to future generations of Sumner County. And it's just sat there with the wheels spinning for 8 years now. It's time to get something done, make some kind of forward progress, because the house is 200 years old, but it's not going to last forever if these conditions are not met and the potential problems are not addressed. We don't know. Termite damage could be in there. You could have leaks in the roof. It's been there for a while, and it's something that needs to be addressed. And we would also like to know, I understand that NTSU has come out and looked at the house. We would like to know what their determination was when they went out and looked at the house and what they found. So we would just really like to have the house preserved and get the ball rolling on this. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Latimer. All right, next up, Mrs. Goddard, if you wouldn't mind coming up, state your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes.
I'm Rebecca Goddard, and my address is 2339A New Hope Road. And my suggestion for this Brown House issue is, it's clear that the previous commission, it's clear that this commission, and it's clear that the trustees prior and the trustees that they're giving the money to are inexperienced or disrespectful or corrupt or criminal, and I can't decide which is worse or if it's all four. My money is in Vanguard, and it is literally the easiest thing I can do to move money, to change things, to give money to someone else. It takes 24 hours. They say 3 to 5 days. Nothing has taken more than 24 hours. Nothing. So all of that is a lie. I went through the packet today of emails, and the mayor is lying. And the mayor should be removed from his position because he is not being honest and forthright with the citizens. And if we can't get him to do that, I think there needs to be a committee to be in charge of this project, because it has been so rampantly mishandled from the previous commission to this commission that I just don't think, I think a new set of eyes needs to be on, because the previous commission should be completely embarrassed at their behavior, their mismanagement, and their disrespect of the taxpayers and the people that generously gave this county $8.5 million. I mean, if someone gave me $8.5 million, I would do whatever they said. Whatever they said. give it to them, do this. I would do every single thing to the T, but I respect people. I respect money, I respect citizens. And it's clear that the previous commission and the trustees absolutely do not. I'm disgusted with their behavior. I have no skin in this game, but I'm absolutely disgusted in the behavior of this body. The previous body and these trustees, they should not even be in charge of it. It needs to be a citizens committee going into a nonprofit because the county has completely dropped the ball multiple times. And I think that there's some criminal charges. I agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scudder. All right, that concludes public comments. For the chairman, I'll just quickly address the technology trust, the $8 million or whatever. The schools have been using that money. They use it every year. They use it, so they're using that money. Just so you guys know, on the record, they've been using it since I've been a commissioner in 2018. And every year, I think they're using the interest from it, $200,000. And Beth can correct me if I'm wrong, but something, do you remember?
I don't remember the exact
But
number. Their budgets are online.
and it's all in the school board budget online, those funds are there. They are using that technology trust money to buy technology, and they've been doing it every year for the past 6, 7 years. So just wanted to clarify that for you guys for the record. However, the $500,000 we still do not have, so we'll get to that in a minute. I think that concludes my report. Just wanted to clarify that for the record.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask you a question on the statement you just said?
Well, let's wait till we get over to old business, talk about the Latimer House.
Well, it's about the trust, technology trust.
Well, we can talk about it when we get to the Latimer House. Let's just wait.
Even that, okay.
Yeah. For the finance director, all good with that. So, got updates on building construction, and the capital projects and our ARPA projects updates.
The first thing I'll do is, introduce Scott Shamrock. He is our, project and, grant specialist that we've hired. Doing a good job so far. They've been with us, 3 weeks, I think. So, going forward, Scott will be giving the reports for the finance director. Welcome. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Welcome to the county service.
So I'll talk about some of the projects we have outstanding. The archives roof, the finance department is reviewing the contract before we finish the legal for them to review. Millersville EMS, we're awaiting a contract. The original contract was not accepted due to liability issues. The Franklin Street project, there's 2 parts to this. So we have the utility part, that project's underway through Galton Department, Galton Public Utilities. Our department has requested a meeting with the consultant to discuss the bidding for the other portion for this Friday. There is an interlocal agreement, we don't know where that is.
With Galton, or?
Yes. We plan to speak with Mayor Isbell next week for that. We do have a $10,000 PO outstanding for consultant, and we spent $5,000 on that PO.
So $10,000 total for the consultant for this, but you spent $5,000.
Correct. We do have $2 million appropriated with the original fiscal year 25 budget for the new courthouse, for the new courtroom at the courthouse for the build out for the judge. We're trying to figure out if we can use the existing architect and the existing plans that we have for that, so that's yet to be determined. Our focus the past few weeks have been on ARPA. One other thing in relation to the courthouse parking garage area over there is the removal of the church canopy. I understand that work's been completed. The The contract was executed between the county, the church, and the vendor. No purchase order was obtained, and the vendor is asking for payment. In the contract, it states that the county will pay the church price, and the church will pay the vendor, but the vendor has been paid.
Repeat that again, the county,
There was an executed contract between the county, the church price, and the vendor for $8,100.
okay.
And there's a requesting payment.
What?
But in the contract, it says that the payment will be, that the county will pay the church, and the church is to pay the vendor.
But there was no PO issued for this.
Correct. But then again, we're not paying the vendor. So,
Well, have we paid the church yet, or was one of them?
we haven't made any payments yet. We have just recently obtained that contract, and we had to request that from the vendor because we could not locate the copy of it. We're still in process. I've just recently gotten access to some of Ms. Northley's files, her electronic files. She had a Dropbox. We got access to that last month. We just got access to some online Adobe documents today. Scott has worked many hours going through the paper files and now he still has 2 file cabinets and a very large box to go through, plus all of her electronic files, and they are very numerous.
Tim?
That seems very unorthodox. The previous commission wrote this contract. Who wrote this contract?
I don't know who wrote the contract.
For the parking garage.
Correct.
And this is, and so that was parking garage removal of a church canopy.
There was a church canopy that was in the way of building the parking garage that had to be removed.
So it's already been removed, the vendor's already done it, and the agreement says the county's supposed to pay the church is supposed to pay the vendor, but the vendor's coming to the county for the money, their money. So,
He had been, there's some emails back and forth with Ms. Northley. He had reached out to her, I believe, back in September, maybe, asking for payment. And now he's still emailing, and we just recently got an email.
You said it's $8,100?
Yes.
That had to be the first thing done.
So when was that work done?
He's back in 22, 2021.
Not open for discussion.
Sorry.
yeah.
Second.
He had said that he would withhold asking for $1,000 of it because he was supposed to preserve some brick from what was torn down to, I guess, do some patchwork on the church building.
So this was a brick canopy.
Yes.
Oh.
And the,
Carport.
it didn't get communicated to whoever was tearing down the structure, so the bricks were not preserved. So he's still trying to find some bricks that will satisfy the church, I guess.
Mr. Chairman, I had a reason why I asked that question. I didn't mean for it to go off in discussion, but
Go ahead, Commissioner Jones, just keep it to one at a time.
so have we taken care of with the resolution that we did a month or two ago to where contracts like this don't happen ever again? This seems crazy.
Correct.
So my question to you, Mr. Chairman, have we fixed that?
I mean, that's what our new construction and renovation of county-owned buildings, and any leasehold improvements policy, which I would encourage you guys to print this off and have it at every meeting. You guys need to have this every meeting because it is our guidebook, And so, that would stop a lot of this stuff. I mean, as you know, general ops didn't meet for like 9 or 10 months, the last year of the previous commissions. I mean, they didn't even meet to even at all.
Paying somebody to pay somebody else, though, that's right for non-transparency.
Right now, we can't, there's nothing we can do about that right now, but I guess I do have a question. It's like, as part of the capital projects and ARPA projects update, and thank you guys for coming and all their hard work when you're doing it. Help us understand a little bit as far as like previous, Ms. Northley and her project management or lack of, or what the information that was there? Like, what have you guys received, or how difficult has it been? I mean, has it been difficult, or was it easy transition? Was everything organized, or has it just been like a Easter egg hunt? Easter egg hunt?
We have found the recipe. I found a pay stub from like 2020. The documents are not in any order. They're turned, you may have, papers are turned every which way in a folder. A folder may be labeled archives, and you may find documents for the courthouse, parking lot repair, the Harrisville Health Department on the same folder. Some folders are labeled, some are not labeled. We have had 8 to 10 boxes, this big, papers and binders just thrown in. We have 2 four-drawer filing cabinets we still have to go through. Documents from the whole time she's been here. So it's been very challenging.
How, I guess, I'd asked you at the last budget meeting, I guess I got to keep this to me, I think, because I was listening, it's like the ARPA projects and where we were on everything, and I know we were up against a lot of deadlines. I think, in my opinion, recklessly so, carelessly so, and needlessly so up against these deadlines. Like, how much, like, when you guys go through this process, I guess, in November, how far dangerous were you losing out on a lot of this stuff or not getting completed? I mean, was there a lot of stuff that just, had you guys not taken over, do you think it would have even gotten done, or do you think we'd have missed a lot of deadlines?
Oh, we were definitely missing deadlines. Done some work, countless hours, on all these projects. He tried to meet with me Northweek during the last 2 weeks, but other things came up where she had other things to work on, so that time was very limited. We got the projects done, but it was a lot of extra hours on Dustin and David and myself, and some others in our office, trying to get everything done by the deadline. They are done. We've gotten all the MOUs signed, the necessary purchase orders that we need to get. All of that's been done.
So we're in a good spot now.
And I do have some more details on the ARPA stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for all your work, Dustin. Thank you for all your work, for helping get that straight and keeping us. I'm just glad that we're done with the ARPA money. I think we will have to be we're not fighting over ARPA money anymore. That we're done with this inflationary.
Done with the creator.
Do I?
Done with the creator of the ARPA.
That amen to that. That is the biggest thing right there. So, but I'm glad we're done, and thank you for your hard work on. I know you guys have been laboring hard, but yeah, as far as I don't want to interrupt you, but it's just kind of like just incompetence. I know the courthouse project. I'll interject here that I was keeping track up until 2019 or 20, or maybe 21 on the courthouse costs. But like I know since this commission has come in, the costs have ballooned. There's been millions and millions of dollars of extra costs because of lack of project management, lack of oversight, just like things falling through the crack or whatever's happened. I would love to know, I guess maybe you guys can make a note of like, how much have we spent on this courthouse since, I'm talking about the inception of that architect firm, whatever we spent $6.whatever million, almost $7 million on their ideation, to the actual, principal and interest on the bonds, to all the extra stuff that has come into it, whether it was the parking garage problems, or whether it was the courthouse build-outs, or whether it was the fire and the stuff we've done there. I know we had, what was it, $100,000 we appropriated last year for all the furniture.
$379,000.
How much is it? $800,000.
One was $379 for the elevator testing.
Yeah.
One was almost $800,000 for all the furnishings that weren't
Correct.
included.
I mean, just
turnkey
I would
building.
love to know, like, just for the public's consumption, like, what? That's why we have this policy. so this stuff doesn't happen in future meetings unless they overturn that. But like, there's been so much waste of money here, so it's just, kind of makes us turn your stomach. But, again, sorry to interrupt, but I just, talking about this $8,100 contract comes in the office. I know you tell
And I
me.
don't, Scott, do you know when that was done? I mean, it's right up front.
Which one, the
Okay.
$8,100 contract? Yeah. Well, we can find that out, I guess, but, hold on, tell me, we're gonna, let's, go ahead and we can jump in.
Are we back in session?
We never technically went out, but, it just, I interrupted.
I think we were in discussion, but go ahead.
We never voted. You
We
tried.
never voted.
You tried.
Oh,
Whatever.
we had a first and a second.
So, go ahead, I'm gonna let Beth continue, and then,
Okay, so we have, for the ARPA funds, all of them have been tied down. We did over allocate the ARPA funding at the suggestion of our consultant, because we do have some funds set aside, capital project funds for the Westmoreland EMS station. So we had, at his recommendation, we over allocated the ARPA, that whatever is actually over in the end will actually come out capital projects. But on paper, it was over allocated.
and you're talking about the Westmoreland EMS station.
Yes.
What, do you guys happen to know the total, because we reappropriated in December, funds? I know it was basically, originally, the overages on that was like $2.1 million we brought from capital.
I think we may be down to like 1.3 at this point.
In capital versus like
Yeah.
2.4 to
There's
5.
another 113,000 or 130. I'm not sure the exact number. The sheriff's office had bought some tasers and vests and such, and he had used 113, 131, somewhere there, remaining that he didn't need. So that's going to be on budget agenda next week to move those funds from
Towards,
the sheriff's project.
Oh, so we're adding-
And to decrease the
In
amount in capital.
well, that's good. Because we had like $2.1 million left in capital last November, so it's left getting that back up. Okay, that answered that question.
If any, of the other ARPA projects come in under budget, we'll do the same thing like we're doing with the sheriff's office. We'll move those funds into a Westmoreland project, and we'll decrease the appropriation in the capital project fund. Westmoreland EMS station, we signed that contract, purchase orders created, same thing with Oak Grove. Sheriff's office finished their project with the vests and tasers. The jail rig is complete. We did receive one small invoice, I think it's $300-something last week, towards the jail rig, but since we've already reallocated that money, then, right, from the maintenance to pay that out of, courthouse and jail maintenance budget. Just comes off the funds, no longer used. The ambulances have been paid, ordered, waiting on receiving those. Holly Strange project, the contract's been signed. Westmoreland water lines, the recipient agreement for the match and for the SWIG portion has been signed by the mayors. White House and Millersville Utility District and the American Legion of Galveston, direct payment has been made to all four of those projects. For the other ARPA funds we received, had some tribal money. We're in discussions with the mayor's office. He has inquired about getting some signage put up at Lakeville Park. I think like $3,000, somewhere along that. So, we're still in discussion with that. We have the Portland SWIG grant projects. Those are in the works. One of the projects is a little behind schedule because it involves a water tank being constructed. There's a hold on that construction. Chesterfield Health Department remodeled. We have a local agreement between commission and the mayor that was submitted to the state on December 31st. And the broadband project, we have requested a follow-up meeting with Portland to discuss that. I believe that's it until we get right.
Much more discussion?
Second.
All fair side?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. You have questions, David?
Yeah. Beth, you're reading off of something.
I am.
Could we get a copy of that?
Yeah.
It's a lot to absorb.
I need to,
Yeah.
Well, here's the question. I guess I'll say, is that list that we were asked of the mayor, like, if we get something to include in our packet every month, just like that, just this is a bullet point list, just to
we
have?
had discussed that, we didn't have time to do that this month, but they, in the plans to do that in the future.
Just like that, I mean, because I know it's kind of a redundant list that move, it's the same stuff every month, so it's something to move on or off. But just to highlight, going through, I was looking at this ARPA sheet budget, so.
David and Dustin and Scott and I actually have a meeting set up for in the morning to discuss all the outstanding projects.
Where they are, how to get them.
Get it neat and tidy and, yes, going forward to do things actually. Yes.
David wants to, he's going to chart.
I do want every project I want to get.
I've already written it down.
So yeah, so I was thinking the same thing, so, because it's not in our packet, so it'd be helpful. Commissioner Jones?
So, in the private sector, my boss has me, anytime I get into a file or folder of any sort, I have to go to a separate program and take notes on what I've done and who touched it last. So put a date on it, my name on it, and what I did to it, so that it's trackable and somebody can follow up behind me when I do something to that. There was no procedure like that prior. Is there something like that current to where going forward, we don't have the same problem every time somebody changes a department or we lose an employee?
We're still working on procedures.
I would highly suggest something like that, like OneNote is great.
Scott has brought some great ideas to the table already. We're still trying to get through all of those papers, all those documents, contracts, whatever there may be.
They're still trying to get notice about it.
Yeah.
No, as long as we're aiming towards something like that, that's just my suggestion.
Definitely
I would-
going forward.
It's crazy that a county, something of this size, doesn't have any kind of policy with turnover. You have to have some kind of backup plan. You are dealing with physical files and boxes and stuff like that, and you don't even have a digital plan to follow. Okay, I just highly suggest that we have a plan under this new department.
Finance department, each area of our department has very specific SOPs, very detailed SOPs. This position will be no different. It's just going to take us some time to get there.
It's been kind
We're
of
starting
wild.
from the ground up, so
It's
it's going to take us.
pretty bad.
Wild West.
Yeah, it's been wild west, so. Any other questions for Beth on the ARPA projects, status and everything? We got full agenda, so went pretty late, so. All right, I think that will, conclude your report there. Item 8, report of the county mayor. Obviously, he is not here tonight.
He did text me, and he is celebrating his anniversary, so he said he would not be here. He didn't give me any information on anything, but that he wouldn't be here.
Okay. Storm drain, Franklin Street, update on the bid documents. Do you guys have any insight on that, Beth or Scott?
Nothing other than what I have
Already said.
reported on.
Just with that interlocal agreement and that $2,000 consultant?
Right, with the, meeting, requested a meeting with the consultant.
Motion for discussion.
Motion discussed.
Second by Commissioner Jones, all fair side?
Aye.
Opposed? David?
Okay, Beth, you said that the total engineering on that was $10,000?
No, consultant fees.
What's the
We
di-
have a purchase order for consultant for 10,000.
What's the difference between the consultant and the engineer? You don't know.
Don't know.
Scott, do you have any idea?
Not yet.
Okay, because, and we always call the engineer the consultant, so And I would,
And they may be the same.
Don't pay twice.
well, shouldn't have to. Now, when Scott and I toured last week, we discussed a little bit about the construction management. Now, when I had talked with Mr. Kellogg in the city of Gallatin, he did not make it, he made it pretty clear that they had no intention of doing construction management. We don't have a person to do that, except now that we've got Scott. He could oversee that. It's a fairly simple storm drain project. Is that what you said that we were going to have discussions with the city of Gallatin about, or was that something different? That's where I stopped.
So you have agreement you mentioned for that Franklin Street.
Yes, Dustin?
No, it's part of
Yeah, start by the TC for it.
So we have requested the consultant, we have a consultant based out of Atlanta, Georgia, that we have asked to have a Zoom meeting with. We spent $5,000 out of the $10,000 that are earmarked for it. It resulted in a bid book of what we are looking at to actually have the projects done. It does not contain any of our current policies or procedures for tax, the county, such as our bonds that are required. So we're going to ask what the status is of that, as well as ask who Ms. Northley was working with on the county, on the city side, so that way we have that point of contact as well. We've reached out to Nick Tuttle with the city of Gallatin, and we're waiting on a response back.
Okay, so, you said the bid documents?
Yes.
I believe, well, when I talked to Kim Norfleet about it months ago, that was being handled by the engineer, who I would think was the consultant. I can't remember the name of it, but the drawings were done by them. Do you remember the name?
I want to say it starts with the letter K.
Kimley Horn, that's who it is. They were supposed to do the bid documents. They had run it through the city of Gallatin plan check. And what I knew was 4 months ago, those things were ready to go to bid. And then the ball got dropped.
All got dropped, and then upon looking at it, does not meet any of our bond requirements. So if we're going to be putting the bill, then we need to start looking at how to best protect the county in case something does go wrong.
So the consultant we're talking to is somebody separate from Kimley Horn.
Correct.
And,
Well, Kimberly Horn is our consultant.
okay, they're the engineer of record, but they're also our consultant?
They're the consultant.
So who's in Alabama, did you say?
Georgia is
Georgia.
where Kimberly Horn is based out of.
Oh, okay, so that's Kimley Horn's main office, okay. That clears some things up, thanks, Dustin.
All right, any other questions on the Franklin Street?
Oh, the only thing I would say, Jeremy, is that I talked to the contractor who's doing the water lines today. They were supposed to start in May. That's a very difficult project because they're discovering they've got 2 gas lines in there and 2 water lines and a 100-year-old sewer line, and it's a mess, but they have started. And I'm going to keep in contact with him because he wants to bid the storm drain project as well. He's one of the 3 contractors I spoke with back in May. It would behoove us to get bid on this. I realize you guys have been doing ARPA. I'm grateful that you got everything done. But now that that's all done, we should put this in high priority to get that bid out, because as fast as we can follow up behind, there's huge power poles that could fall over if it rained too hard and things like that. We want to be right behind it so we don't have any responsibilities. They put in the water line, we put in the storm drain, the city comes back and paves the whole thing. And I'm 99% certain it's David Kellogg is the person you want to talk to at the city. Because he's the last one I spoke with about this project. He was overseeing the water project, so I think that's that.
And we did discuss that about getting that, the RFP issued. So we're planning to do that, hopefully get it issued and get it back early February.
Okay,
So that is one of the top projects.
great.
Commissioner Jones?
Is it an action item for us, or is it being driven now?
That's just a report.
Is there any reason why it wasn't being driven before? People are talking about dropping the ball, so like that was just all because the project manager was in flux and all that.
The mayor in charge, but they weren't doing anything.
Yeah, well, the mayor was never here, we couldn't talk to him
I
about
mean,
it.
the mayor wasn't here for
But
5
he
months.
had his orders, though, as far as what to do with going forward with this. Like, we all approved it, we voted for it to happen, we appropriated money for it. Discussing it at this table is to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we just let people keep on going with it, but I want to make sure it's going, first of all, as hard as it can, and then figuring out why it wasn't going before.
That's why we did this.
But it's not just to point a finger, but it's to learn from. I like that we have that, but the citizens have the right to know why projects aren't being done, because projects that aren't done cost a lot more than projects that are done in a timely manner.
I mean, is this the mayor? I mean,
It was month after month, Tim, you remember, we were asking him, where are we at with bidding that? And he'd say, I'll have to get back to you. And he
So it
never
just
did.
stopped at the bid phase and never got bid?
It never got bid.
so was the mayor responsible for that? Was that a job? I mean.
Yeah, we approved it for it to go get bid in this
So the
committee.
mayor dropped the ball and did not do the job, and Ms. Norfolk did not do her job. She was not doing it either. I mean, that is,
The last I had spoken to Ms. Norfleet, the plans had been through plan check at the city in August. They were done in August. So they were ready to permit, and we could bid it, it was a final design, ready to bid and go.
well,
5 months later.
I get it. I mean, I share the same frustration on the on the Oak Grove Volunteer Fire Department building for their apparatus. They bought a building to go in it for 2 years. Just nothing happened. And it's like, why? And then it turned into a almost $3 million project, $1.2 million project. I just, so it's baffling.
Yeah.
So, but that's why hopefully we can get this, I mean, the goal here is let's start clearing stuff out of play, but it's like, get stuff moving. It's
The
ridiculous.
ball's there cracking the whip now.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing, we got some really good people brought into finance who are doing the
I
job.
think that's the goal. So, I mean, it's, this stuff needs to get done. You're going, the longer we wait, the more expensive it gets, the more confidence happens, so.
So are we leaving this for old business?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Keep it under Port County Mayor, or I guess maybe move it under the Report of Finance Director, I guess. We move that under,
I think it's fine.
let's move it under Report of Finance Director. So, for next month.
Mr. Chairman, does that mean he's not driving anymore? Are we taking that from him by taking it out from report of the mayor, or is he still pushing it also?
I'll defer to that, like, what's the process here? Where's it, as far as like in the finance department, moving forward with the project, getting the bids, estimates, whatever needs to be happening for the signing off the documents? I mean, where,
We, will take care of getting the bid, getting that part done. He has asked that we take care of requesting the PO to another department.
okay, Mayor, is that?
We had asked him, to request the PO to come to full finance. We don't like to do that for the department to do it for finance if we need it. But he has given us the authority to request those purchase orders. We still have, he would still sign off on contracts. He would still sign off on invoice payments. The invoices come to us, but we review them. We work up the payment, whatever needs to be done, make sure it's correct, and then we take it to him.
So it's a joint effort, but I guess what I'm getting at is who is acting as this keeps coming up, project manager to report to this body?
That would be Scott.
Okay.
That's his job. That's part of his job.
He's incredibly more experienced than Ms.
You gotta be here, you gotta be here every month.
So, all right.
Someone from finance will be here.
Any other questions? We're gonna move on from here, so we got a lot more. We're gonna move out to, I guess, Report of Finance Director on that update. All right, old business, get the Latimer Brown House historic preservation, status of transfer of $500,000 from Vanguard account to county trustees, and status of application for historic preservation grant. Who would like to go first? I guess I'll open it up for Beth and Scott.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? All right, I'm going to let Beth and Scott take this, and Dustin as a whole.
As you all know, we have not received $500,000 yet, and we have no involvement in the Vanguard account, so we can't, it's not like we can look at them, we can't request anything, so, we're out of the loop on that.
Can I ask
So
a
we
question
haven't
on
received
that
the money.
first point?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we direct them or ask them to ask the mayor on a daily basis where you are at with that? Since everything you do from here on out is gonna depend on that money being there, right? Can we ask them to ask him on a daily basis where we're at with that? Because according to what I found out from Vanguard, this should take no more than 7 days. And the only reason for a hold-up would be that if one of the trustees was not complying with their requests.
And that's what Vanguard said.
That's what they told me.
Well, I'll go ahead and say that trustees are not complying with Vanguard's request, because we were told by the county mayor last meeting, 3 to 5 days, be there Friday, if not on Monday, it didn't happen. Then he sends that email back. I mean, if you can go to your packets, we've got it in the packets, pages, specifically 3 to 6, email trail, that started with, Mr. McClard asking on behalf of citizens, like, where are we on this? And, you know, and saying, your email you're referencing, Commissioner Jones, is right on page 3 of the packet, on those things. But I mean, at this point, the money's not being transferred, and I just feel like it's intentional obfuscation of funds.
Sure. So back to the question I wanted to ask earlier, you said the hold till now kind of falls right into this, about the trust. There's 4 people that could be counted as trustees. Which ones are we talking about that aren't complying? And then you said that money is being spent out of that technology trust. You've seen proof of that. How's that possible? Because the people that are approving purchases are former county employees that should not be trustees. They have nothing to do with our county. They live in different states even.
So my understanding is on the Vanguard trust cards is that Del Phillips and Anthony Holt had signed up and done all the paperwork, is my understanding from Mr. Long. So I don't know if you're familiar, but I can correct me if I'm wrong. He's already done that. They did that. The problem was that Isabel and Langford had not done their part. And so that, I guess I'm going off what Mr. Long told me, if I was understanding him correctly, I could be wrong, so just a little disclaimer there, is that that part has been done.
2 years ago?
Yeah. And so, or sometime in the past 2 years, yes, that Mr. Holt and Mr. Phillips have relinquished their trustee authority because they're no longer in those positions. So that they did their part, is my understanding, of signing off. I don't know, as far as the technology trust, the money that's been spent, I don't know, how long has Mr. Langford been
At least a year.
A year and a half? Year and a half?
At least a year.
That's not been 2 years.
No, at least a year.
Hasn't it been, or has it been 2 years?
No, it's not been 2.
I think Mr. Phillips is still the, well, Mr. Phillips was on that year payment plan for consulting for $100,000 or whatever. But I guess Mr. Langford's been here, but I don't know if they've spent they've spent money on the technology trust since Mr. Langford's been director. I know that Mr. Phillips and the previous county commission, the previous school board and director of schools were spending money on the technology trust every year in their budget to go towards whatever and I'm pretty sure they're using the interest only with $200,000 of that $7.whatever million. It wasn't a full $8 million, I don't think. I think they're counting the $8 million was counting the $500,000 they were on county captured. So they're like down to like 7.2, 7.3 million or something like that. It fluctuates. The last time I looked at the paperwork in the law review's office when he had it all those binders months ago. So I don't know if the schools have spent any money in the past year, have 2 years from that trust, or I can't say they have in the past 2 years. I know they did it 3 or 4 years prior to that. I do know that for fact, and Beth confirmed that. But the past 2 years, I don't know if the school board or Mr. Langford have been able to draw off of that at they've not signed the paperwork. If they have done that, then that's a problem. I mean, then somebody is not giving us correct information.
Right, because that's what's been told to us is why they're not transferred, is because they're not technically the trustees.
Their financial report should be on their website.
For the schools. Well, the main thing is the question was going to be asked, what's the status of the transfer? To your point, Vanguard said the only reason that we wouldn't have the money now is because they're not providing the paperwork. And at this point, Director Langford and Mayor Isabel are not providing the paperwork, and they're not cooperating. I mean, I wish he was here tonight so we can talk about it, but he's not. So,
He's not answering emails either.
correct about answering those questions of where's the money. And so it's not happening. I'm frustrated. I know we're frustrated. This has been 8 years. The citizens are frustrated. It's a lawsuit, a legal letter, but a lawsuit. I hate to say somebody needs to be sued, but I mean, at this point, just transfer the money. It's ridiculous. It's incompetence. It's obfuscation. It's malfeasance, whatever you want to call it. It's intentional, of just trying to block this from happening. Because, I mean, the reality is the previous plan, which was almost $1.3 million 5 years ago. So this is probably a $2.3 million plan for that, whatever that grandiose park was that did not include any funding for the house. And that codicil and will, Mr. Walter, correct me if I'm wrong, specifically $500,000 bequeathed to Sumner County, not the school, not the school board, not the trustees, to Sumner County and the Sumner County government, meaning Sumner County Board of County Commissioners, has a fiduciary responsibility to take that $500,000, fix up that house as the centerpiece of a park, whether they have a public park, whether it's half an acre, 100 acres, I don't care what it is. But the fact is that $500,000 was left for that house. That previous plan, I guess we're going to get into, National Amphitheater, $100,000, whatever that is, a parking lot, $140,000, a pavilion with restrooms, a 60-foot by 40-foot pavilion for almost $500,000. Not a single dime in this towards the house, which is what the guy left the money for. It's very frustrating. It's very nefarious at this point. It's bad intention. It's bad faith effort. I know the citizens are tired of it. I'm tired of it. Let's fix the house. It's $500,000. The problem is we can't get answers on what the $500,000 is, and they're not. At this point, they're refusing, is all I can say, to give that money over, because it's been months and months and months, and this should not be that way.
Well, he's missed 6 of the last 8 months, hasn't he?
Correct.
6 meetings on the last 8 months. He's avoided this committee.
Correct. So, I mean, it's frustrating. So, where we are on the $500,000, I know the county attorneys basically said, I mean, you've heard things, well, as soon as you tell us your plans for this, and we don't have to tell anybody plans, but the plans is to renovate the house. You can't hold money hostage that you have no right to do. And right now, that money's being held hostage at a Vanguard account when it needs to be given to the county commission, so we can, to your point, and to Mr. Latimer's point, talking to Hall and him, 8 years ago, we probably could have done everything we need to do for this house for $500,000. Do you think we can do that now? I mean, for true restoration and renovation, historically, I won't say historically necessarily, because we'll get to that in a second. Give us an update on that grant, but I don't know what else to do at this point. They're not giving us the money, and so we can't move forward on this project until we get that money, and that's just kind of where we're at on that.
So, the last email that Mayor Isbell wrote was, to me, it looked like he was calling for a meeting, a public meeting to hash all this out. Then I saw your response, providing this as a venue, the proper place would be general operations, I would think.
You're talking about page 7 in our packet.
Thank you, I couldn't find it. I knew it was in there. But, yeah, there we go.
Well, real quick, any other discussion on that bullet point before we move on? You're getting into the status of application for historic preservation, Tim, so I want to finish what we're going with 500,000.
Well,
Any more questions?
I just was going to ask you if he ever responded to you after you presenting this as an answer to his request for meeting.
No.
This is the perfect place for it.
No
And
response.
he didn't tell anybody except for a text message that he wasn't going to be here tonight for one person.
No response. Any other questions specifically about the $500,000 on the Vanguard? I don't know, you asked Commissioner Jones if the finance department can send an email every day and bug them.
Or verbally ask.
I mean, I don't know, I'm not going to put that on the spot. Or if she wants to talk to them. Commissioner?
Do we have any proof that it's actually in the Vanguard account? Like,
It's not sitting by itself, no. I've seen, I mean, the books have been in your office, and there was like 8 or 10 binders of stuff that was hard to discern.
We have Director Langford and, Mayor Isbell both stating that they would transfer the money once certain criteria were met that were beyond their control to say. So that tells me that it's there, or they wouldn't offer to transfer it when they made the demand.
That it was there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's there, but it's not sitting by itself.
no, it's together.
so it's in with the other money?
Yes,
that-
it's in with that trust money. It's mixed, it's commingled with the 7 million as best we can guesstimate.
Against
I
Mr.
can't say
Brown's
authoritatively,
wishes.
but that is my best guess, looking at the records, and that's my understanding.
So commingling funds.
Against Mr. Brown's wishes.
It's disrespectful.
So any other questions about the 500,000? Because there's nothing we can do about that right now.
What's our next step to ask for this? People are calling and asking questions. What's the next shoe to drop? What's your plan to go forward? If they stalemate us continually, how long can they keep this up? What is our next hand to play?
Commissioner Clark?
It seems to me the same document that allows them to spend on the technology fund is, if they're the custodians of the money on that, then they're the custodians on the money of the $500,000. It's in the same account right now. So if they've been able to spend technology money, we have not determined that.
We've not been able to determine if the new trustees have.
Right.
Director Langford or Mayor Isbell, we've not been able to determine if they've spent money from that trust in the past year and a half.
But all we need to do is simply see when the last money was spent. And if it's
Correct.
been since
Director Langford took over.
Director Langford, then they can hand the money over to
They
us.
can't because it's not technology-based.
It's in the same account, Tim.
I understand that, but they will use that excuse. I'm just saying.
I mean, I really don't care, I mean, what excuses, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I responded to the mayor, his and Director Langford's only responsibility is to transfer the money plus accrued interest, which has been wrongfully withheld for 8 years by the trustees, to the commissions, that we may move forward in carrying out Mr. Brown's wishes to prevent the home from further deteriorating. That is all their responsibility in their story. And so, again, other than just, we'll send an email out tomorrow, again, and ask where this is.
And if we can see when the last money was drawn for the technology fund, that's a hot gun right there.
Well,
It's a smoking gun.
I guess the best way to look for that, Beth, is you said, is on the school. You're trying to look it up. Beth's gonna look it up right now, so, question, Commissioner?
If there is proven that there is intent not to do this by the two trustees of the committee, can they be held personally liable for any deterioration of the ground home? Because it is deteriorating. I can tell you it's deteriorating. If you don't take care of the home, and you don't live in it, and you don't deal with it on a regular basis, it's going to deteriorate. So if that's happening because of the lack of,
Attentiveness.
well, it's just, it's kind of like, intentional, I'm trying to give you my words, but can they be held personally responsible for that, Can some, the Brown folks, or whoever the people that are involved in it, can they, in their suit with, Mr. Mullen, what's his name? Stubbs, can they go after them personally for neglect, causing damage to the home? I mean, to me, this sounds like a vote of confidence here, because we're having a situation where we're not getting, you're not getting your answers, because I've been listening to this for a long time. You're not getting answers, you're not getting, feedback. The house is deteriorating, the residents are becoming upset, and you're fighting with a steel door here. And so, my question is, can they be held for 6 months?
I mean, I don't have an answer to your question, and I don't know, the moderator wants to speculate, and you're speculating.
That's playing, my daddy used to say, the what-if game.
So, I mean, I can just tell you what's happening is, they're not doing it. That's a fact. They're not cooperating at this point. They're intentionally not cooperating because they're not making anything happen. You see the emails that the county mayor sent through, and it's just like, just playing games at this point. Just trying to change the subject, on what needs to happen. So, I'm gonna say it's intentional, but,
It sounds more
you can't
political.
prove it, but I mean, I'll just give you an example, the Comer Barn. Comer Barn was falling down, county got that bad deal, thank God we got rid of it. I made a motion, and I got a contractor to come out there and look at the roof, to give us an estimate, and put a new roof on it for like 50 grand. County mayor wouldn't even put a tarp on it. Was intentionally letting that, in my opinion, intentionally letting that barn deteriorate, and the roof was falling in. There was no tarp, nobody tarped it off. It'd been sitting there for 4 or 5 years, no tarp. I said, put a tarp, here's an estimate, nobody did anything, I went on my own initiative, went and found it. So, you can say yes, when you intentionally neglect something, you don't put something on to take care of it, you are intentionally neglecting it. And we know the reason why, they want to spend $10+ million on that whole, as a complex for whatever. And waste county funds on stuff that we didn't have the money for it. But to give you a side comparison, but I mean, as far as like, we can't answer the question of what a citizen can do or we can do. I mean, sure, the commission can sue the trustees, you gotta have 13 votes of the commission, we can do that, if somebody makes a motion, you have 13 votes to do it. And we're tying up court for the next 2 years. But, I mean, citizens can sue, they threaten to sue, that, at this point, they probably should. I mean, because the point is just give us the money. But again, we're not gonna solve any problems right here on this. We need to move on. This discussion needs to go to second bullet point, which is the status of the application for historic preservation grant. So, with
Mr. Chairman, just a point for start, July 2023 is when mine took over, so anything after that date.
okay, so, I mean, that was a year after, correct, but I'm saying that was just a year and a half ago, so it's not, so basically, we've only gone through one budget cycle.
Year and 5 months.
One budget cycle where the schools could have, under Langford, done a technology trust transfer, because it would have happened under Phillips under that 23-24 budget cycle. So we only need one budget cycle for Director Langford. So I guess that's where we find the money.
Sorry to interrupt your train of thought. I knew she was searching.
Correct. And this shows 2023-24 financial reports. However, when I click on those, they're for fiscal year 23. Not for the brown part.
Fiscal year 22-23 or 23-24? So they run
The 22-23.
oh, this is 20.
So when I click on the report for fiscal year 24 for the Brown Trust,
Nothing.
no, it's fiscal year 2023 report.
So it's 2 years, almost 2 years. Okay, so I mean, so nothing's happened. To your point, there's no money transfer.
Well, no, I'm
Not
not,
updated.
I'm saying
It's
these
not updated.
reports are.
Okay.
Or a year old.
The public reports aren't updated for us to know if money's been transferred or not.
How often do they report?
It should be done monthly.
So the last-
They did spend, for fiscal year 23, they spent $81,090 and the fiscal year 25 budget's not on the website.
Do we have a way to request that? Do we have any kind of authority to ask for that?
It's up there. No.
Other than that FOIA request is all I've known.
So you're saying the 22-23 is the last fiscal report where that shows from that trust coming out?
They're labeled fiscal year 24.
But it's not, it's the 22-23, so it's the wrong, the label is wrong based on where the report is. So we're just talking 2-year-old.
That's 25 budget's not on the website.
Wow.
That report only goes to us, right?
No, it's
To the county, to the county.
It's on their
It's
website.
public.
This is public information.
That's what I mean.
I say the budget's not on the website. It's not listed here. It may be in their meeting minutes,
So they don't even have the 24-25 budget either.
not
But you
under
can-
their budget tab.
So it's hidden somewhere, so we need to ask. So we need the 23, 24, 24, 25 budget reports for the schools.
At least a year and a half worth of reports that are supposed to be monthly or meeting.
Does anything hyperlink to a current one?
I think their current budget, I don't know about their report, unless it's on their meeting minutes.
All right, so I guess we need a FOIA request for that. For missing 2 years of their reports, to be able to look and see where that money for the ground trust, technology trust is coming from, so we can't find the paper trail on that.
What entity of the commission should enforce or request the monthly statements that are, is it required? Who said that they will give monthly statements?
So the comptroller that they're supposed to post that for, or the
State?
could be in the 2012 financial management act as well, but we'd have to look at it and see, because that got changed in 2019.
Is that something they can report or ask the state to look into, or do we do that?
I don't know.
I'm ready to escalate this as far as we can, so.
So
Who asks the
You
state to
can.
get involved?
You can.
Probably not ask that, so.
I mean,
Does the school board have access to those numbers?
just as much as we do.
I just know,
It can be any public.
I just know it's stated that they're supposed to give monthly reports, but I don't know who stated that.
Year-to-date budget report for Brown. They have spent $104,791 to date
Out of the technology trust?
as of October.
24?
Yes.
So they're out, okay, so if they're spending money out of that trust, that means Langford is a signer on that card to be able to do it, right?
Yep.
I mean, with that,
Somebody's got to sign for it, that was my point.
okay, so,
They're either spending money illegally, or they're already in charge of the trust and withholding that from us.
so the schools, as a 1024, spend, you said $104,000? 104 from technology trust.
And Langford and Isabel to sign that, right, as trustees? Is it one or the other, or both?
I don't know how that works either. She doesn't know, so.
Either way, one of them's got to be on there, so both of them probably would be.
I don't know, we can just be speculating, I don't know how it's set up, so, we need to find out, but point being, if there's money coming out of there and they're refusing to give this to us, that's definitely more of a problem.
Yes.
Because that's where we're at right now, it's just, it appears to be a refusal to give us that $100,000.
Can I ask, finance department to find out who will hold them accountable to the monthly report? I'll be glad to make a phone call, I just don't know who to call. I don't know who said it has to be monthly reporting.
Well, and they're doing, I mean, this goes through October.
So there's a report of the 1024, there's a report of this.
But if they're doing it every 6 months, that's still a problem, if it's supposed to be monthly.
I don't know. We're not gonna have an answer for you right now, so I'm gonna move on.
Can you look into that?
Is that something that we can figure out? I don't know.
But, it doesn't be tonight, it doesn't have to be tonight.
Not tonight, but guidance on the best way to find out these reports or.
Like who's supposed to hold them to the 1 month standard of
Tim
report?
wants somebody that's feet held on fire and them strung up for it, that's
I
what.
think we all do.
But the point, she doesn't know, I mean, it's down to the public, I'll be honest with you.
But every path we're looking for is to pick up breadcrumbs. It's a struggle, and we don't even know who's the one that's supposed to hold them to these parameters that were set forth in the will. I think that they're supposed to give a monthly report. I don't know if that was set forth in the will, or if that's something by the state or by the trust.
For the comptroller or?
Yeah, or just
State education.
CTAS, or I don't know who. If somebody's holding them to 1 month standard, I want to hold them to 1 month standard.
I'm gonna move on, we don't have an answer for you, and she can't give you one, so I can't satisfy your answer. I know you want an answer, but I can't give it to you. I just don't.
Seems like the next possible clue.
So, I mean, we'll have to just, you know.
Their 25 budget
So the 24-25 budget is online, okay, good, so, but the 23-24, is that online? Okay, so the 22-23, 23-24, 24-25 are online.
They're just difficult to know.
They're difficult to find, all right.
Okay, so if they're monthly reporting, then my question's moot anyway.
All right, good. Status of application for historic preservation grant on pages 7 through 32. Justin or Scott or Beth.
We've been advised that all grant applications need the commission and school board approval.
What do you define joint venture? Justin, would you like to come up?
What about email?
Justin's been working on this.
Right now, the understanding is that the property is jointly owned between the county commission, or Sumner County, as well as the school boards. Therefore, any work that is done on the ground house or any of the property needs to be approved by those. So anytime that a grant application needs to go forward, it would need to have a blessing from the county commission as well as the school board, so it could be applied
For the grant application.
for the grant application.
And I guess you found out that the mayor, unbeknownst to this committee, been talking about this for 5 months, met with, I guess, MTSU, they have a Department of some kind of preservation or
So the state of Tennessee has given them the funds over the past roughly 20 years to do historic preservation. So anything that is pre-Civil War goes in front of them, and they give guidance on how to move forward or define grants, best practices as far as buildings, preservations, and that nature. So, because I'm not a historic preservationist, we would need to have them actually on board to provide guidance to make sure that our applications are sound, so that way we don't make any mistakes going forward. We ever want to pursue additional funds from any entity that delves into historic preservation.
So MTSU is involved with TDEC as far as a filtering mechanism on grant applications from county or government entities to try to get money from the state to do historic preservation.
It would be better to go in with the partnership because they are looked at as being the leaders of historic preservation for the state of Tennessee. So we could try to go it alone, but it would be not highly recommended.
What do you mean?
It is better to have their blessing saying this is the best practices and they do it across the state of Tennessee than let it go alone.
But, I mean, you're talking about in regards to applying for a grant.
Yes.
Yeah, only as an applying for a grant.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that, okay. Commissioner Jones?
I'm assuming that you gained that understanding from the mayor or from Director Langford,
As far as,
that it needs to be approved by the whole commission, the school board, and
so looking at the deed of the property, once
The
I
mayor.
found out MTSU, if you were to look at the package, and I'm sure that correspondence is in the packet, it states that we needed to show a unified front. And so in doing so, I went back to look to see what has been done. County mayor has stated that we being Sumner County would give them the bill proposal. And then in addition, we would need to partner with them as far as best steps of showing a unified front moving forward.
can you explain why they wanted, or were they just offered the failed proposal?
We wanted, based upon the email, it appears they wanted to see what actually had work had been done previously, so they know what has been done as far as the historic, I guess you'd say, past, what has been done, so they had an understanding of the property itself, what was good, what was bad, what efforts were taken to possibly preserve the property. But otherwise than that, I mean, the email itself was short, 4 sentences together.
So I would prefer it to go to them, for you to go back to them and say, what has happened in the past is of no consequence, we'll start from square one. Because that old plan is dead and gone, it had nothing to do with what we're trying to do now. It had nothing to do with the house. It's clear, there's nothing to do with the house. So we're looking at what can we do with the house, we're applying for a grant for that. And once we find something, then of course, yes, we would have to bring it to the full commission and possibly the school board maybe, but that convolutes things to look into a multi-page giant print package.
I can do that. The thing is, though, looking at it, the house is under an estate deed, and
But it's not now.
a living deed, so it would go back into the full deed of the property, is my understanding, which we jointly share with the school board, so we still have to get their permission.
There's your little.
No, the permission to not give them old information, why, I don't understand why we would give
Not
them.
the old information, I'll follow you on that one. But in order to apply for any grants, I would still have to go through the school board.
Gotcha, no, I understand, but you could seek out a grant, and then we present it as something we want to try to do, get approval from everybody, right?
Yes.
You can still seek out. So, what can you do to get rid of that old plan and not make that a point of confusion? They don't need to be wasting their time looking at that.
If the board or if this body agreed for me to go ahead and approach them that way, I would, but they may still come back and ask. I'm not privy to what the meeting was between MTSU and the mayor, so I cannot fully.
I just really want to know why they want that and what good it would do them, because it has nothing to do with what we're trying to do. Surely doesn't have anything to do with the transfer of money.
He doesn't know.
No, but he's involved in it more than we are.
I know, but I'm gonna go back to the email that, you look on page 11, in your packet, from Ms. Graham to Dustin on December 19th. Since Dustin reached out to them, because basically, we passed a resolution in October saying, we, one, accept the money lawfully, according to CCA, for this $500,000, which we had never done in 7 years. That was step number one you had to do. Step number two was to instruct the finance department, the grant writer, project management, to start looking for a type of grant, if possible, for matching to restore this house. Obviously, so, and I was pushing Dustin that, I know they've been doing all the ARPA stuff, so that's why it took, that was their focus in December, November, and over Christmas, really leading up to Christmas, I just was being a little bee in his bonnet, and been the persistent wheel, like, just because we've been waiting 8 years, let's just stop waiting, let's stop moving, everybody just wants to obfuscate and stop this. And, page 11, this is Stacey Graham telling Dustin, since our phone conversation, discovered that two of her colleagues from the Tennessee Civil War National Heritage Bureau Federal Liaison did indeed, they already went to visit the property with Mayor Isabel and County Commissioner Shannon Bergdorf. I'm not sure why Shannon was involved with this. Said the mayor gave them a set of photocopies compiled by Sumner County Schools historian Kate Hurt, including the listing of the property owners from 1789 to 2017, several photos, map, copies of the deeds, and so Dustin was not aware of that. I guess, and then I guess they were already also asking for the previous plans rejected. I'm just going to say, this hasn't been officially rejected, just so you know, but what we've done is missed the opportunity, is my understanding, to move forward with this grant. Is that a fair assessment? As far as like the grant application that the previous county commission did in 2020, they wrongfully leveraged the $500,000 to try to get another $500,000. Commission spent like $125,000 to $190,000. There's a debate on how much we spent on that out of taxpayer money to go towards this free project. But I know they're requesting from you all the plans and details from this old part that didn't include the house. That's what they were wanting, correct? And what they were calling a unified front. Well, we're not unified. I mean, we're not going to be on this, I don't think, because you've got an entity over here who wants this, whatever this is, that has nothing to do with the house, and they're leveraging money that they don't need to be using. They're wrongfully leveraging it for this edifice to ego, or whatever this is. And we're trying to get the $500,000 just to fix the house, and which is a totally different thing. So the problem comes from what you're running into, is what I'm hearing. If we want to try to actually apply for a grant, which we don't have to do, they want all this just red tape, and it's just ridiculous. I'm just going to cut to the chase here.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
before you make a statement or something like that, you read the whole email and stopped short of my point that I was asking the question about. The very last paragraph, Antoinette and Merle were both impressed by the age and condition of the building, as well as the significance in dating to the period of early settlement. With the last paragraph here, we are currently waiting for Mr. Isbell to send us a copy of the original master plan for the house and the surrounding park. Why? A plan that county commission rejected, but we wanted to see the draft to learn more about the research that has already been done on the house. Why? That has nothing to do with what we're doing, and it's, none of what they're asking for is in that plan.
Well, there has been no research done on that house.
No research.
None.
And so I would, when they say that, I would ask them, why? What do you think is in there? Because there's nothing in there that you're wanting. Let's move past this and stop wasting time. That's what I'm asking you to do, is just ask why, because I feel like somebody is pushing their agenda to MTSU, and we've got a different agenda over here, and ours is much less complicated and involves fixing the house.
Ms. Laura?
If I may, I'm just trying to get this resolved. What's the linchpin in all this, I believe, would you agree, is the fact that this is joint-owned property? So the school board's gonna have to jump on board. So whatever you throw up to this commission, to get this grant, is not only is it gonna come with the normal grant stuff that you get lassoed with it, it may have other provisions and may have requirements because it is a state grant. And the cheapest, quickest, most efficient way out of this may be to avoid this altogether, because truth be told, I don't know that you're ever going to get the school board, if they have any leverage over what happens on that property, because we already have an 80 acres versus 50 acre issue on what was proposed, probably through the mayor if he presented the old packet. So the school board, I do not think, is ever going to agree to this. So if there's another way to achieve this goal, I would strongly encourage you all to entertain that. I'll leave it at that.
Commissioner Klein?
Mr. Chairman, this is probably going to be a question for Mr. Sittler, but is there a difference between a public park and a public/school park? Because the codicil says specifically a public park. Does not mention anything about the school, and if the school's involved, the only thing that determined that this house is on school property is the final plat, and that was figured out by, I don't know who, as the planning commission. The three of us voted for it because that's what was presented before us. But I don't think there's anything, did you vote against it?
No, but hang on.
Okay.
We were strong-armed into,
Because-
it was gonna be our fault that the kids didn't have sewer if we didn't.
Right. But what my point is that property, if we took the 1 acre, roughly 1 acre as the house is on, and had an easement to it with a parking lot on the other side of the fence, and made that just public property, not school property, I think that would be fulfilling the will.
They're never going to go for that.
Well,
This was prearranged. It was already prearranged. It was a carve out for an estate, and once he died, it reverted back to what it was. It's all one piece now.
well,
We're never going to agree to
it was a separate lot until we did the final plat.
I know, and now it's not. They're never going to
And
get
you
that
did
back.
the final plat in planning because they were saying the kids weren't going to have sewer, and it's your fault when they built the house.
We delayed it 1 month because they had all kinds of errors on the plan. But the gun against our heads was the sewer cannot be connected until we approve the final plat.
Which could be.
And of course,
done
we
in a
did-
different way.
We didn't have a crystal ball. We didn't see all this coming down the pipe. We said, okay, it's the final plat. It's all school property, but
Was not on school property, that's the problem.
right. And so,
It's joint.
So, I'm just asking if there is a legal discrimination between a public park and a joint venture between the county and the school.
Well, I'm going to stop you. This is not a school park, this is a public park. It already is, and the county commission has voted on
Well,
it.
it should not be on school property then.
It can be, though. There's tricky ways to do it.
It's a public park, open to the public. So it's not a school park that's only open during school hours. That's not how it works. It is a public park open to the public during daylight hours or whatever. It is a public facility. That's just the short of it.
So,
Resolution real quick, but-
so it sounds to me like Grant, the situation is you had two people that were circumventing the general option, with the communications were not there. You had two people doing their own thing, created this little twist of you're not working together, right?
Correct.
And so now, as we've spoken, what he has said is that the grant, because of the complexity of the grant issue, it's kind of redundant to even try to go after it because there's so much red tape, and it would be a waste of our time. Because you're going to spend a lot of hours and time trying to get something that essentially probably isn't going to happen.
The deadline date for the grants with TDEC right now is February 2nd, so you only have to approve it and then turn around and reapprove schools.
Yeah, so it's not even,
Beginning to get the money.
necessary to even voice your breath.
Correct.
We don't have money to match to it anyway, right?
So, no, correct. So, I guess my question is, Justin, as far as that old plan, my understanding is, and maybe Mr. Lloyd needs to chime in, is because we've not taken action on it and no intent to build this, whatever this is, that has nothing to do with the Will and Carlson. Last I spoke with TDEC on that grant, the TDEC grant, was that, and this is, I guess, back in September, whenever Commissioner Jones had talked about on the day after, whatever, was it our October meeting or September meeting? I think September meeting. So, I think we had taken around $10,000, $10,000 from that grant that we applied for, that we owe back to the state, basically. So we need to return about $10,000 and some change back to the state for that process, since that grant is basically, effectively dead, because we're not going to meet the deadline that we can do it anyway. So I guess, first, what's the process started on giving that money back? What do we need to do for that? I'm going to make a motion to give the money back to the state.
Second.
I got a motion, I got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passed. The budget, I guess. For giving that money back to the, so we're starting from ground zero. Second thing is obviously, we don't need the state. We don't need anybody's permission. We don't need the state's money. It was just maybe an idea of like, how can you maximize, you ever got question? Okay. How can you maximize this? Because you got three kids are $500,000, and this $500,000 is so far cutting into how much? Well, how much? So far, this David thinks close to $200,000. I'm saying only 125, so I'm not exactly sure. I'm following Mr. Mullins, very conservative estimate on this. So I'm going to say $125,000. What I put in my email, that the county, we've used taxpayer money from the capital projects funds for this free money to do this. So there were statements wrongfully made by director of schools and other people and other outlets that no taxpayer money has been used for this project. That's just not true. It's a lie, because taxpayer money has been used for this previous matching grant. At least a minimum of $125,000 of taxpayer money for something we're not, that's just lost, unfortunately, because this has turned down easily over $2 million, and it doesn't even fix the house. It does nothing to the house. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest problem here. So my recommendation is obviously we need to get that money, but we're going to fix the house up $500,000. If we do need extra funds, my recommendation is that if we need to match funds, that we match it from the hospital fund. Now there's approximately $1.1 million in the hospital fund. I'll give an example. The previous commission tried to use $3.5 million. They snuck it in, and during COVID, Mo Taylor caught it. Wasn't ever discussed in any budget committees, nothing. It just obviously appeared on the final budget sheet in June of 2019, actually, pre-COVID. And Mo Taylor called it. They were going to spend $3.5 million out of the hospital fund on the COVID barn, the Comer barn, and Mo got that killed and pulled off. But those funds have been used for a lot of different things. I've explained that before. We'll talk about that later. Whether it's scholarships from Ball State, we've given that money to the school board to build buildings or buy buildings. That hospital fund money has been used for a lot of things. But that is my recommendation. If we needed to self-fund this ourselves, is to make I'll say a draw off of the hospital fund if we needed more than $500,000. But at this point, we were given $500,000 to restore in some way this house. We're not getting into the details. There's debate in the community where you restore it back to its original structure, which is a log structure. I think we should do that. I know there's family members who think we should do that. Some people think they like the brick, but the brick was added in the 60s. It's not historic. And it's not part of the house.
90s, I think.
Well, there's part of it, I found out, I heard it was in the 60s, I think, the brick. So,
Yeah, the brick was
some of it. So that's not historic. The historic house is the beams that's underneath it, and probably half of what's there now. What is that actual footprint? But in order to do that, I know Commissioner Klein, I asked him, because I was asking Dustin, I was asking David, because he said he knew people that did historic preservation for homes like this. He has some resources, but we have to get into the building. That's another thing the mayor has not helped us with, is being able to get in it, or the director of schools. And so I guess that'll be another email out loud as well. I guess we're going to have an email in the entire commission for everything, so I'll just email the entire commission about why can't we need to get in that school. Mr. Klein has somebody that's ready to go, we need to get into that building over there. If somebody's ready, they can go look, that does historic preservation on old log cabins, like in Bledsoe.
He's at Bledsoe Fort working on 3 buildings now, log cabin buildings.
So there are people out there outside that we can talk to that can help guide us or give us quotes or estimates on bids, what it would take to tear down that brick, restore it back to the old log cabins, and have it as a structure, and then call it a day. But we've got to get into it, so that's another problem. But that's going to be my recommendation moving forward. Obviously, there's no chance we can do this grant. Dustin has submitted it. We're not going to get Unity with the school board, whatever kind of games you're playing for this grandiose park that is millions of dollars, that has nothing to do with renovation of this house, and they're trying to leverage money that they lawfully can't leverage because that $500,000 belongs to the county for the restoration of that house, period. So this grant, my understanding was that we couldn't even really move forward with this grant because the $500,000 couldn't be used for it. We were going to have to pull money from somewhere else because typically the $500,000 that they were using to try to leverage for this grant was not lawful. And so that was another problem. But, so that's kind of where we're at, I think, as far as the next step forward for you guys, for the community, for the news, whoever's watching, whatever the question is, we need to get access. We've got contractors, people who do historic renovation are ready to get in there and give us bids and estimates to bring back to us to get into that building, that structure, and give us some options on tearing it down, keeping the brick, removing the brick, whatever, what's the cost estimates. And because we need to find that out first before we know what can we do with this $500,000 plus 8 years of interest that has accrued. So, that could easily be another $100,000 or more. Tim had his hand up first. Go, Commissioner Jones.
You mentioned the news. I know the news has been watching this, and they're watching this tonight because they've reached out to me. They've reached out to citizens. I've seen numerous reports on this. Just to restate and clarify, so we're losing the ability to go after this grant that we were made aware of by a phone call from me in November that this was going to come up in December, that they were going to be opening these bids. And because of the slow walking and muddying up the waters with not even being able to pursue the grant because they muddied it up with the old park plans and MTSU asking for old details that didn't even matter, and then the mayor not coming tonight, and the window's going to close before our next meeting. The grant window's going to close. So we've lost the ability to go after that grant, a proper grant for this house for historical preservation. And on top of that, we've got a standing order with the mayor to try to get into that house, and he said he would do his best to get us in that house. He had to contact somebody with a combination to get down there, and we found out that he's already been down there with other people from the community and other commissioners, and we were not even invited. This whole committee is not even invited.
Correct. That's correct.
I'm outraged, and all the citizens should be too. This is ridiculous.
Well, that's where we're at on that, Commissioner.
Well, back going with what he said, my simple question was, we are county commissioners, we are governors of the buildings, right? We have a right to be in a building that's owned by the county, am I right?
Yes.
And so why are we not allowed to have the combination? And who has the combination?
Don Long.
Don Long. Well, where is Mr. Long? He's project manager. He's never been to any of these meetings. He doesn't come and talk about the situation. Why is it that you can't get in there? This is ridiculous. A good screwdriver and a credit card can get you in that house. But I'm going to tell you, there's no reason why we guys shouldn't be allowed in the house. I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Long, but that is a joint building, or building of the county.
That's our next objective, is to give us access to that house ASAP. It's this week, next week, or whatever, to be able to have access. Because obviously the county mayor has access to it based on this email, since he went and met with people and another commissioner, and had access to the house and didn't tell us about it. So we know the mayor can get access, so.
Can you explain again for us why we can't go down there?
Say again?
Can you explain again why we can't go down there and go in that building?
Forcible entry?
Into our building. Into our building, yes.
I can't, as an attorney, advise you to do that.
It's our building. I mean, I do it to my house when I got my keys out of my
I
house.
have clients all the time that don't do what I tell them, so I'm just putting out the.
I'm just wondering if it is illegal since we own it, because I do it to my house when I lock myself out of the house. And we'll go down there as a commission, as a committee, the Gen Ops committee, we meet down there. Is it illegal? That's what I'm asking.
I got a
She asked the question. She asked the question. It's just a padlock, that's all it is.
I'm going to say, if there's another way to get in that building, I would strongly encourage
I'm going to
that.
contact the county mayor tomorrow.
There is no other way.
Schools.
Because it's like
There is a
a
way.
citizen saying, I
We've
pay my
tried the other way.
taxes, why can't I just get into that building?
But it's not like a citizen.
It's a committee.
The committee's charged with the care of county buildings. And so I'm asking, is it illegal? If it's illegal, I don't want to do it. But if it's not illegal, if it's just like I lost my keys, and I'm breaking into my own house, it's a padlock. I'll buy a new padlock. I want to know the legality of it.
Yeah, if you want to go any deeper down this wormhole, we'll have to go into executive session.
All right, I'm gonna rein you in. We're done, on that one. So, is that okay? Or you want me to? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, what's your plan? You said you were going to try to.
Well, I mean, obviously, we need to get access to the building, so I'm gonna work on trying to get us access to the building to find out, what the status is of this money. So I guess I'll just email the entire county, because everybody likes, I might as well put everybody on the entire building on it, because everybody likes to email the entire county, including fire department, citizens, news, everybody else. Let us know. So that seems to be the standard operating procedure these days. So we can get some traction, but we need to get in that. There's no excuse for us not to be able to get in there and allow a contractor to come and look and crawl in the crawl space, see what the foundation's like, get in the attic, see what the roof structure's like, and what can be done, and try to discover what's going on in this property. So that's just our next steps. But at this point, we can't apply for a grant. I don't think that we need to. We need to take the $500,000 to self-fund it. We need to appropriate money from another source. My recommendation is to come from the hospital fund. We need 13 votes to do that, but I mean, got the citizens here, and you're dishonoring a dead man's wishes. You're violating a dead man's trust and will. It's been 8 years, and people are losing patience. So just do the job, fix the house. So, all right. Without belaboring that dead horse, Gallatin Library Parking Ad Hoc Committee update. I don't see anybody here regarding that. So,
The mayor was going to tell us what prices he had for the gates. That was what I remember.
I'm hesitant to just break up the ad hoc committee and be done with it. If we're not going to get anywhere, I mean, if they're not willing to do anything about it.
They haven't done the bare basics yet.
So, is there any objection to just the committee? Since it was created it's created before I came in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's they're not doing.
We're
wasting.
I think the work was done by the ad hoc committee. They met, they decided on a gate. If the gate doesn't work in the future, then we can set up another ad hoc or do whatever we're gonna do. Well, I think we can break up.
Address this.
I'll make a motion to dissolve the ad hoc.
All right, a motion made by Commissioner Klein to dissolve that ad hoc
Second.
Gallatin Library Park Committee.
Second for
by Commissioner
discussion.
Jones.
Or ask a question.
Did you second the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, you're in the queue.
So, is he still gonna be charged with coming with the prices of the gates?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only thing that it was created for, right? They came up with a solution.
You didn't have to come to the meeting to tell us what it was. You can send
He
it
can
in an
email
email.
those prices.
If it's important, we're important. If not, then it's obviously not important. So, all right, we have dissolved the Gallatin Library.
But we're gonna leave on there, we're gonna hear his prices, right? leave something on there.
That'll be under the report of the mayor, but we're
Okay,
striking item B.
so we need to vote on it.
You just sort of, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. C, marking is assigned for the new parking garage. I'd ask the mayor to report back on that. He is not here to do that, so, it's not been done. There's nothing been done at all.
Mr. Chairman, we drove through it and looked, and I think, Mr. Shamrock has maybe some ideas. Did you put anything together, or?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. We found lots of shortcomings with the signage in there, and so,
Do you want to keep this on a little bit?
yeah, let's keep it on.
All right, we're going to keep marking as assigned as, new parking.
I'll get together with Mr. Shamrock and we'll.
The demolition of the old house on Children Are People Building property, pages 33 through 4. We have an email. You guys went and did, make a motion for discussion. Maybe say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Page 33 through 34 is an email from Ms. Megan Griffith, and she's here. Part of this, I wasn't a part of the tour because it's their working hours. I think Commissioner Janelle went and Commissioner Klein went. As far as that old house on the Children Are People Building. Any report on that, or anything you want to say about it, or?
Yes,
There's two buildings, right? You went into the building that you said is.
yeah, the other one's a basket case, the house.
It's not county good.
Pardon?
It's not county good, but now finally did I agree.
Oh, right. But, the long and short of the conversation was, we had, people that came, actually, they were asked to join while we were in the middle of our meeting, and they are very interested in purchasing the property from us, which would save us a demolition bill, because several commissioners want to demolish it, which I think would be a shame, because Commissioner Janung and I both think it's a very viable building. And it's rock solid, and there's nothing wrong with it. The electricity works,
For the
everything.
main building.
For the main building. Yeah.
We're getting Ms. Griffith here. Do you guys want to suspend?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Tim?
I just have a question. I'm getting the two buildings confused. One of them, does everybody agree one of them is a basket case and one of them is not?
Yeah,
Everybody agrees that?
It's all on one property.
I know that.
Okay.
So differentiate the Children Are People building, and we'll call the other one the other building.
Yeah, the house
Okay, so the house,
is a mess.
everybody says it's a mess.
Mhm.
It's coming down, right?
Well, if they buy the property,
But the Children Are People building is gonna stay.
That's what they want to keep.
So what's the same? It's the same to have to tear something like that down. What is that?
The Children Are People building, because that's the original school district.
We're not talking about tearing that down, right?
But some commissioners did want to tear it down. But
Okay. I remember Commissioner Moss saying the one was,
But it changed as well.
you were looking at,
So, hey, Tim, we suspended a rule, and the letter come up.
Yes.
They're
I still don't understand which ones, because they're gonna start talking about the ones that we're talking
They're talking about both of them.
Yeah, they're gonna buy the
The
whole.
whole property.
Yeah, but tearing down one, keeping the other one, right? Or whatever they want.
If they buy the property.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
If they buy it, it's theirs, they can go live in it.
I know there's two different groups, so I thought they were getting together to do something.
There would be one buyer,
Okay.
and it's these people.
So, I'm Megan, I'm with the Sumner Prevention Coalition, which is contract here handing out. We've got, the first page there is information about what we would like to do with this building, the large building. We don't have any interest in the house, we agree that needs to be demolished. But, so, we would like to, it will be our office space, obviously, we currently rent, and office space we've kind of grown out of, on the backside of Public Square, wanted to be, if anybody's curious, but, so it would be our office space. There's enough rooms that we would like to use it. We do some classes for the schools, after-hours classes that currently meet at RT Fisher. It would give us an opportunity, as first offenders class, a class there, on respond, it would give us the opportunity to have those in our own space rather than rely on RT Fisher being open and unlocked. It could give us room, so we'd like to not even rent it out, just make it available to recovery groups like NA, AA, any other recovery groups that are out there. They currently, a lot meet in churches, but there's certain times they can't meet as frequently as they would like. And to pay those facilities that we'd like to make available there, do overdose prevention training, some town hall type events. It would open us up to a lot of other funding opportunities as well through grants if we have the space to do it. We also would like to have a naloxone vending machine, which currently, since we rent a property, can't, it would just be it to be outside, so it's available 24/7, so it would also give us the opportunity to do that, so we can have naloxone, which is the overdose reversal drug, so we can get that out into the community as much as possible. But so there's those ideas and a few others are listed there. The next page is just give you guys a better understanding of what we do. This is just some highlights of things we've done the past year, and then the last page just goes further into what we do. But we're happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
So your intention was, when we talked over at the facility, is to possibly buy the building from the county with your money we have available, and we would go away, am I right?
Yes, no, we do have some general funds available to. And
as far as fair market value for the county, I mean, unrealistically in Gallatin, in this area, everything's premium. So the county would have to agree to sell it at a kind of a decrease. And it would require a lot of money to have, even if we wanted to sell it at a premium price, we would have to have, the county would have to spend a ton of money on it. So I understood that if you bought it, you would use your sweat equity and all your people, and we talked about that as well. So, and then there was at one time donating it to you guys for $4, but if you're going to buy it, that's even better for us, because we don't get money off the property. Am I right? You could do that. Depending on the price.
Yeah, so I think the finances were still kind of up in the air as to how everything was going to be handled.
Right. And the demolition of the house, if you were to buy the property with the old house on it, you would be responsible for the demolition of that. And that's,
Well, no, not accurate. On page 34 in your packet, you read that email. Basically, they talk about after purchasing the property, the non-profit Sumner Prevention Coalition is interested in purchasing this property at 117 East Winchester Street, formerly what's called the Children of People property. That's what we're talking about. Relocate the organization to that building, but after purchasing the property, they would have expressed interest in subdividing that land so that the Sumner County Recovery, Inc. would be able to obtain the house, and they would want to use it.
they wanted, what they told me,
They would demolish.
Okay, they would demolish it, not.
So,
really cost less.
they're familiar with the, community housing initiative
Right.
grants, the cheap grants, and they could apply for, they've got one right now, but they could apply for this cheap grant that would cover the demolition cost as part of a rebuilding project to put recovery housing in.
Right, and they would have to be able to build for women and children.
Correct, that's what they want to put in.
Plus, or maintenance.
Yes.
And on that, that's what I understood.
So basically, you would have recovery, and the good thing about what we want to do with the building is, these women, or whoever they end up having, they could literally walk across the parking lot and go to their recovery meetings.
Right.
So, yeah, that was, it's all kind of right there.
I do think it's such an example for Sumner County being on this, opioid abatement committee and the work we're trying to do. It sets a precedent as a county as being, kind of in the forefront of mental health and helping, an epidemic that we have. And, I mean, I could preach it all day about it, but I do think that the coordination with the recovery court and with y'all and all that we talked about when we had the meeting, that it would save a lot of money in the long run for jail costs and all that kind of stuff. That would save money in the long run.
This email was broken up in this this packet that came through, I guess, said at this time, tax information should subtract the land building to be appraised, was that $180,000?
It's 186.
186, so it 186, 800.
Dustin,
Was it 186, is that what you?
186 is assessment value. Sounds about, I believe it's right.
And that the opioid abatement committee was willing to contribute $90,000 to the Sumner Prevention Coalition for this purchase. Is that still, something that's being
That was
discussed?
discussed, December, so we had an informational session, so the Commissioner Gunnar and Commissioner Lambert both agreed that 100,000 from the next check could potentially go to them, so yes.
Gotcha, to help offset that COVID cost. Yeah, coming from the opioid abatement. Any other questions for them?
I'm behind it. I think it's the best thing we can do with the property.
Thank you. So, all right, I'll bring this back into session. Do we have any motion for discussion?
Second.
It's by Commissioner Klein, second by Commissioner Miller. All fair say aye. Opposed? Anybody want to get a cue?
David motion.
I suppose the proper move here would be for them to make an offer on the property. And then we accept or deny it, correct? Wouldn't that be, I've never been in this situation with the county before. We only spend money, we never take money in, so.
I've never been in either. Usually they negotiate deals before the commission approves it, and then comes back and asks for permission afterwards. It's illegal to do that otherwise. Mr. Water, are there any opinions here, or, I guess we'll wait to hear back from?
Usually, there'll be an offer and an acceptance. Who's gonna pull the trigger first is the question. So if the commission's gonna do it, it all needs to go through commission to throw out the offer, or they make an offer and we send that offer up for approval to the commission to vote on, and then that'll address the property. I think if we're in agreement or we think we're close on numbers, the quickest way to achieve this is for them to make the offer, then it's a complete bundle when it goes to commission.
I agree. How long has this property been sitting here, just wasting?
Probably a year.
Yeah.
I think they vacated about a year ago.
The first time we toured it, they had just,
They just
maybe
moved
a
out.
year and a
Children
half.
of people, what was the children of people? Was that this?
They were basically a school extension for kids whose parents they were latchkey kids.
Okay.
And so this was a place that they could hang out and get a further education. It was run.
Property's been abandoned, nobody's using it, it's just, okay. Commissioner Jones?
Is the county exempt from, I know there's certain rules about real estate, selling it under market value because it devalues the property around and stuff. Is there any rules for that for the county? Does that have to be fair market value, or can it be a, low rate?
Just to be very conservative about this, I would believe that the commission's got some fiduciary responsibility to the citizens to get as much money as they can for a piece of property, as long as we can show it's within some fair market value range.
But there's gonna be some that say, well, you could donate some and make it a lower rate or something like that. And so, I know we're gonna get into that area where the value could devalue property around it if it's not. So that's why I asked the rules about that.
City owns, has the detective division over there, and then there's, I know most of the city.
There's two options. We can give it away, or we can sell it. I mean, that's, I don't know.
No, you can sell it, but is there a rate at which you have to sell it? Because you guys said, who's gonna make the offer first? There's gotta be an evaluation possibly, is what I'm saying. There may be a step before the one we're talking about here.
If you're close to fair market value, you're gonna be fine. What happens to that value after you've sold it?
Exactly.
Who cares? You don't own it anymore.
I'm talking about the value of the property around it. It devalues. I couldn't sell my house for $100,000 right now. I couldn't do it. It wouldn't be allowed. it's gonna devalue all the homes around it, there's like a rule.
Then you're under some covenant, man, you can do that all the time. You can sell it for whatever you want to.
Yeah.
You could sell it for $1.
There's nothing that prohibits anybody from selling it for less. I'm only saying the fair market value comes into play because of the responsibility to the citizens of the county.
No, I was told something different by somebody about the devaluing property around it has to be close to fair market value.
Well,
Show me the law.
this is totally different.
That's what I'm asking.
This is commercial property and that whole street is residential, so there's really no comparable on that street except for the police station.
Anyway, I'm gonna bring this back in. Basically, we just need to have an offer from the, Sumner Coalition, so maybe you guys can respond back to us, and then we can put this back on our agenda for February. That sounds good to you guys. All right.
Do we need to vote on it, or is it?
Do we need to determine fair market value?
I'm not gonna do anything right now, Tim.
We'll let them make an offer.
We have a 5-minute.
Right, you need a 5-minute recess?
Mhm.
All right. Take a 5-minute recess. Art. So the demolition of the house on Children of People building property, we're gonna keep that under old business. All right. There's, I guess the water leak, page 35 through 37. Beth, what can you tell us about that? Make a motion for discussion.
Second.
By Commissioner Klein, I'm saying, favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? This water leak, you guys got, all these emails about, at the, when we went to tour the old courthouse, the mayor, was that like, I was like on October, end of October? The day we went, he said that there was a leak at that place, but this email is a month later, almost. So what, do you know what's going on with that, or are we still getting?
Last month, he said it had been fixed. I don't know how finance ended up with an email. In the email, it says they had contacted someone, left messages, they didn't say who. No one in finance received any messages, no one in finance received any phone calls. As soon as we did, we contacted the maintenance guys in the building, and they went over and checked it out.
And it was leaking again?
I asked them about that water leak in the courthouse, because they fixed in the courthouse, and then there was another main leak, I think it was on the city side. There was a valve leaking on the city side. Unless I was,
This said it was on the county side.
It says it was using an average of 1,600 gallons every hour of every day.
Good grief.
And this is on November 20th. And it says, good afternoon, they sent this to, I guess, Mindy in the finance department. I wanted to reach out, and this is Tyler Julian, Assistant Customer Service Management at Gallatin Public Utilities. Said, I want to reach out, make it where there's extremely high continuous water. We have sent a few phone calls and left voicemails to notify with no response. So we don't know who they were calling, but you know.
We're not on any of those.
So they were calling the finance department, so I assume they're calling the county mayor's office, and there was no response.
I know that the day that we toured with the mayor, he had just found out about that leak that morning.
That was October 4th. This was sent on November the 20th.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. He said he was handling it, and that they had just found out about it, and they had somebody coming to look at it.
The following day.
The following day.
But it evidently didn't happen, so I was hoping that we could have the county mayor here to answer that, but, I mean, do you know what's happened, or is there anything to do with this, or do you guys want to keep this on business, ask the county mayor in February what's going on with this?
I don't think we need to wait
Is
till
it still
February to
leaking?
ask. We need to put an order out there to ask like right now.
Well,
he said that when we were touring that building, that he was there, he said that, remember David? He said there was another big pipe that was leaking, but it was on the city side of that county building.
Yeah, but he said the
It was
leak,
like a big, I don't know what to call it,
Like a main.
kind of like a main.
the main is in Water Street, and he said it was our side of the meter, so, so.
It was a second.
What's our side of the meter? Why did they shut it off?
The thing is, there was no water in the basement, there's no,
Well,
where
There's
did
underground.
1,600 gallons an hour
mayor's not here to answer the question, so I'm gonna include this in all business, I mean, because there's.
Jeremy, can you send, or I'll send him an email, one of us should email him.
Yeah, so C, D, E, and F are, we're gonna keep all under.
The main question is, has it been shut off?
15?
Well,
Okay,
Yeah, you did 50.
we're gonna keep, well, I'll come back to you, thank you. So we're gonna keep, this under whole business. David, would you follow up with the mayor tomorrow?
Yeah.
If you could make that, that'd be great.
Okay.
Item E, plans, discussion, we don't have any plans, and anything we do have, we're gonna go to the finance department first, according to our policy. On the need side, do you wanna keep this in our old business? Do we want to try to come up with a plan for this? Do we wanna move this off and come back later? On the old courthouse, public square plans on the old courthouse, do we wanna keep this in old business, or do we wanna move this off? Are we ready for this? I mean,
I say move it off.
Plans meaning the sheriff's department's plans, or just plans for its use in the future?
no, 100 public square, we've already moved the sheriff's department off, that's back in finance.
This is the old courthouse.
Yeah.
Old courthouse, we have on the square, 100 public square.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to go through with Mr. Shamrock, and probably the first thing we need to do is clean that place out. And then we can determine what to do with it, but I'd like to consult with him.
Well, I'm gonna keep this in our old business, I didn't object.
Yeah.
So we got CD.
We'll plan something in the next couple of weeks. If we can get the key from the mayor.
All right, item G, is discussion for routine maintenance service, support services billing invoices for the library pursuant to resolution 1504-2. It's pages 38 through 53. I've asked, Beth, the reports are first, but if you wanted to look at my email that I sent her, it was on page 52-ish, yeah, page 52, just asking for the expenditures for this. On this page 52, Beth has responded, like, what is Hendersonville paid? Since we're co-owners, right, for this building, we've had major repairs. The only amount that Beth had found out they had paid is $840 in November of 2023 for half of the HVAC repair. And that is all that Hendersonville has paid that we know of as far as like major repairs and maintenance on this building, as far as outside of the resolution states that Hendersonville is responsible for maintenance of this building. So, like maintaining it. Obviously, but any major repairs, as co-owners, we are then kick in, HVAC is a major repair, like, or elevator was a major repair. But all we have on all these expense reports going back from 22 through, yeah, 23, 24, and 25, and 2022. So 22, 23, 24, 25 expense reports for the Hendersonville Library, those are all here in this attachment. And she only found $840, any major repairs that Hendersonville had paid us. The co-owner part. Now, this doesn't include anything they might be spending on their own to maintain the library as part of the resolution, because I do know that they're doing something, but I don't know what.
There's 100% maintenance, right, but majors have.
Correct, supposed to be. There's a water leak there with some system. I don't know if we've done anything about that on the county side. I don't know if we put money into that or not, for any major repairs.
There was irrigation.
Something. So we did that in the county, and we paid for that, so, okay, but.
There was a backflow preventer.
The backflow.
Issue, yeah.
Did Hendersonville contribute anything for that, or,
Not as far as I know.
There's been nothing else somewhere.
nothing showing on these reports? I just wanted to have this one here, as we're figuring out, because this library seems to be a point of discussion, contention, bringing things in. I'm going to keep this on for old business for February, because new business item A is going to relate to that. So without any objection, I want to keep this under old business and keep these reports on, as we wrap our head around this building, this whole co-ownership problem, which is a problem.
So in February, we will discuss, like, how we want to refine that.
No, this is just this, yeah, the routine maintenance support
Yeah.
services.
We'll refine all that and talk about it in February.
Let's talk, yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. There's no refining, Tim. This was 13 months in legislative. Hendersonville's not coming to the table and negotiating this with us. We're not doing any refining.
I'm not talking
It's
about
just
changing the parameters.
Figuring out how to maintain it, what we spent on it, what we're losing, and what Hendersonville.
Yeah, I'm talking about changing the language of the contract to where
No, we're not doing that.
spelled out
No, we're not doing
what
that.
this means.
We're not doing that.
Well, we'll be in the same position we're always in then. motion to discuss in February.
No, there is, because we're responsible for this, trying to figure out what we're losing, or where we're bringing money on this. This has already said they're not gonna do it. We spent 13 months in legislative.
Why does it matter if we decide, we figure out where we're bleeding and where we're losing money? Why does it matter?
Well, item 10A, under new business, is why it matters. If you look on page 54. So without objection, we'll keep this under old business. But then if you come to page 54, that's why it matters. You have to read that letter from Mayor Flair. So,
I just don't, if we're not interested in fixing it, I don't understand why we're gonna talk about it.
there's nothing we can do to fix it.
Okay.
I mean, you understand, we tried for 13 months in legislative. Eric and I went and met in the city of Henderson.
I know, Jose, I'm just trying to figure out what we're gonna do in February. Why? But that's fine, we'll talk about it in February.
Yeah, I want to digest the numbers, go over them with Beth a little bit.
This is the first time we put it on there. Obviously, you gotta have a digested the numbers, so.
Mm-hmm.
So without objection, I do want to keep that on there. Item A, new business. I'm just gonna preface this before we I'm gonna make a motion to, accept this, the law director write a resolution and push it forward to the full commission.
Second.
This is not about what we're gonna do with this money. That's not.
We're gonna take it.
It's not germane, it's out of order. It's just about, we have to legally accept this money before, the same thing as with the Brown House. We're not talking about plans until we accept the money. So, you got a motion, you got a second?
I have a comment. So they spent $840 in multiple years, say 3 years, but yet they wanna split this gift 50-50, and they wanna open the library more hours. They don't wanna do what they're supposed to do with their maintenance. Am I reading this incorrectly?
Yes.
That's how I'm interpreting it, but again, that gets into not germane to accepting the money. We'll put on for February, if the commission accepts this money, then we can discuss with what to do with the money. And that's how it's germane to item G of old business, to answer your question. So that's why we're putting it on old business. So we got a motion, we got a second to accept these funds according to TCA 5-9-109, TCA 5-8-101, and push it forward to the full commission on January 27th. Mr. Water, after you can.
It's already drafted.
It's already drafted, all right. Any, objections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. Item B, this is, the resolution for the nonprofit donation pursuant to TCA 5-9-109. 501c3 for Westmoreland Quarterback Club to pay off debt incurred by athletic facility of $274,000, $272,008, and memorandum of understanding. I'm going to make a motion to approve this and push it on the budget.
Second.
Second by Commissioner. I'm going to get a lot that I'm going to say about this.
Okay.
So, last month, Commissioner Jones, you asked about like, what if other quarterback clubs come and ask for money or want stuff? Well, I've got an answer for that. The other quarterback clubs have come and asked us for money. They came in October of 2023 from several different schools asking or demanding money, and brought kids and their uniforms and saying, we as quarterback clubs can't afford to do these things. We need you to do it for us, county. So we want all this money for bleachers and for stadiums and for locker rooms and for weight rooms and for athletic training facilities and for bathrooms and for concession stands and for tracks and for track press boxes and for new lighting and all these things. That's what the quarterback club, they did come and ask us for all this money. And the county commissions, school boards appropriated, the county commissions approved appropriations, closer to probably $26 million now for the quarterback clubs. And so, a little background, again, so it's kind of ridiculous, I think it's to hear somebody say, well, we can't approve this because the quarterback clubs or band clubs are going to come and ask us for money. That's about the stupidest thing I've heard. Because
I voted for it.
I know, I'm just saying,
It sounds like you're coming at me.
No, I'm not, I'm just
correcting somebody that said this and this.
No, I'm just
You got to make it clear that I voted for it.
I know, you brought the argument up about this last month, but it went to budget and didn't even get a second.
I know, you explained it all last month and I was okay with it.
So, but I'm explaining it now because it went through budget and didn't get a second.
I got
So nobody's
back explain it to me then.
So, but, you know, the quarterback clubs aren't having to take out loans because the schools in the county gave them all this money. I'll give you an example. Beach High School, where their stadium and track infrastructure includes the press box, concessions building, bathrooms, training room, locker rooms for home and visitor offices, their stadium, and the site work for a new track, over $9 million, almost $9.1 million to Beach. Digital High School has gotten $8.4 million for new press box, concessions, bathrooms, training rooms, locker rooms, new stadiums, both sides, offices. They also got recently in November or December $400,000 for a baseball. $500,000 to $1 million and renovating that for some cheerleading and dance facility. So that these are things that normally quarterback clubs pay for, but they're not. Taxpayers are. Portland High School home side stadium, roughly $2.6 million. Station Cam. Normally that quarterback clubs handle that, but that's not being handled by those clubs. Gallatin, $2.3 million for a track estimate, for a press box and a 1,000-seat track stadium, and a 1,000-seat stadium concessions. Merrill High Magnet School, tennis courts over $500,000. Westmoreland, supposedly, they didn't ask for this, but they've been told they're going to get ornamental fencing and new LED lights. That's not what they asked for.
Merrill High also got band instruments, didn't they?
Do what?
Band instruments too.
Who?
One, I think it was Merrill High.
I don't know.
One of them got band instruments.
Did they? Okay, with all that money, that athletic facility money. But a little background on how this came about was, you know, again, for the record, I was at the playoff game for Westmoreland. I went to it, got invited by Principal Duffer and Board Member Lacey and Board Member King was there, and Chief Marty Bowers was there. Took him, and because we've gone up there and done the scholarships at Westmoreland for the past 3 years for these kids, and I was asking Principal Duffer, I was like, hey, you know, these are nice stands. They're aluminum. They're sturdy. You guys have a nice, you know, big, huge facility for your concession stand and bathrooms. Like, how did you guys build this? Where'd you get the money from? And I mean, he let me know that the county gave them a pot of money of $500,000 about 10 years ago. So, or that they could buy bleachers and have a company install it. Again, at that time, $500,000, 12 years ago, for their bleachers versus $8 million they're spending on bleachers now. And so what Westmoreland did was they took $250,000 for their bleachers, their press boxes, and they installed it themselves. The community came together and did the labor for that. And they leveraged that money. And they took the other $250,000 the county commission gave them, and they built their visitor locker room and their concessions building. They did have an old built house that they tore down that was way worse shape than any other facilities that were ever torn down for this last round of athletic facility building that at Hendersonville Beach, Portland, anybody else. Westmoreland had a really bad, dilapidated house they didn't tear down. And so somebody made a comment that all these schools, I think, get money every year or whatever. And I did ask Principal Duffer about that, how much money they get, and roughly $20,000 to $25,000 each year. Capital money is given to Westmoreland, and they've used things for things like lighting in their auditorium that went out. That was over $30,000 to fix the lighting in the auditorium, so they've used that money for that. The board maintenance fund didn't pay for that. For a number of years, Director Phillips got the county commission or the school board to start giving out $25,000 for that capital improvements to each school, and then it went to $50,000, and then 1 year was $100,000. And what Westmoreland did is they had saved $200,000 from those capital that was given, and they used that towards their new field house because they had to tear down the other one in such a dilapidated building. And then they raised $400,000, community donations, fundraising from their quarterback club. So basically, at $600,000 that they raised for this field house, this facility that we're trying to help them with, or would like to. And they had roughly $300,000 left on a loan. The school board is not by law able to help them with this loan and this property. Only the county commission can. And so That's what Director Phillips had told Mr. Duffer a couple years ago. It's what Director Langford had told them. And so that the county commission did have a latitude for that. So my suggestion was, and he had asked me point blank, Jeremy, do you think the county commission could help Westmoreland with this? Because there's a lot of things they could use. If they could pay off that $274, use it for their athletic facility funding for them, for uniforms for the kids and equipment and all those things that they use. Here we are. I just read you the list of the almost $26 million or whatever that we're spending on behalf of quarterback clubs all across the county. Principal Duffer's not asking for very much. I mean, people always say people forget about Westmoreland, and I have to believe, Commissioner Moss, when I'm seeing the proof in the pudding. They really are. It's kind of irritating. So my suggestion was to take $250,000 from the Comer Barn that we had put back into the hospital fund and apply that towards this. Because schools were willing to spend $10 million of that on the Comer Barn. They had a plan for $3.5 million using COVID money for the Comer Barn. That's why I called it the COVID Barn earlier. And knowing the plan the schools had for that, some ag center, was going to be close to $10 million. They wanted an amphitheater. They wanted all these things that you see in this other park plan. They were willing to use Comer Barn money, COVID money for that. That, at the end of the day, it didn't benefit students directly. And here you have an opportunity, in my opinion, instead of going towards a barn that we didn't own that's falling down and cost millions to renovate, we can give it to a school and community that doesn't necessarily have the financial means to do that. And so I think it would be a good help to them to do this. And so, again, I just wanted to go over. I was shocked that it just didn't even get talked about in budget, but I know I'm not picking on you, Commissioner Jones, but you had brought up some good arguments and points, so I thought about that and wanted to have a little pushback for you this month on any arguments that might be made from other commissioners or the public, is the fact that we've given a lot of money to the quarterback clubs, and we've not given anything to Westmoreland, nothing. And my understanding is it's kind of funny, after I started inquiring about getting this money for Westmoreland, this $274,000, all of a sudden the school board was like, oh, we're going to give Westmoreland some money. But it's after I started inquiring about doing this, not before. Just want to put that back on the record.
But I thought you said the school district cannot give Westmoreland.
They're not helping this. All of a sudden, we're going to give you some wrought iron fences like Hendersonville. Well, who cares about a wrought iron fence around the thing? They think paying off debt's a little bit more fun than a wrought iron fence.
Contribute towards a loan, a debt, but they can give them outright money towards something.
But the point is, like, it's throwing a dog a bone when you have another request over here. And so I know we're going to move this forward to budget. I'd asked them to put on the budget committee agenda for next week, so it should be on there. I hope you can get more discussion, Commissioner Klein.
I will try, but one of the things Commissioner Pomeroy spoke about is he said that there was 5 years that every school got like $200,000.
Well, that's not true. That's what I said.
That's
what the principal, I asked him about that. And that's basically like, there was 1 year they got $100,000, and 1 year they got $50,000, and then there's a couple of years they got $20,000 to $25,000. But that was only for like a couple of years. They used over $30,000, the money they didn't get, to fix the lighting in the auditorium that went out. That they used that. They did save $200,000 of money that was given over those 3 or 4 or 5 years, and they used that, and they did use towards their field house that they built when they had to tear down the other one. They used that. The community raised $400,000. That's $600,000. But they still needed a little over $900,000, and they financed the rest. Basically, this is just, they asked the county commission help because they did it before. The county commission did it 10, 12 years ago, gave them $500,000. That's how they built the entire stadium. That's how they built the concession stand, locker room, and weight room. With $500,000, the community did that. Pretty astounding. And so, all I can do is ask. That's all Commissioner Moss can ask and Commissioner Wright can ask. But that's just not true. There was no couple $100,000 a year given to Westmoreland. That's just not, that's false information. Hendersonville might have gotten it. I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Yeah. Well, I'm the Lone Ranger on the budget committee.
So no, half of your people weren't on that even showed up.
Right, there were only.
Commissioner Jones?
We've already passed this out of here, right?
But it died. It went to budget, and budget did nothing. I'm bringing it back.
So do we have to pass it again out of here?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's going to be the difference in how it goes to budget?
Well, there were only 4 of us last time. And-
Okay, just have a different crew there, maybe
When
push
they didn't
harder.
discuss it, you can get it a second.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, evidently there was discussion outside of the meeting.
Okay, I mean, yeah,
So, I've got a motion to approve this, but I just wanted to give background.
second.
Because, yeah, to answer your question from last month, you specifically asked that question, I thought about it, especially when you didn't get a second, and I heard some rumors about quarterback clubs, but I wanted to make it clear what all Beach has got, Hendersonville's got, Gallatin's get, Stations can't get, Portland's get, that's their quarterback clubs, and many of your quarterback clubs came and spoke before this county commission. These people from representing quarterback clubs, and we don't have money to do this, we need you to do this for us. All right. But, thank you for
And
giving me
if
the
you
lead.
don't, you hate kids.
Yeah, if you don't do this, you hate kids, right? The narrative we already get.
All right, we got a motion and a second.
All right, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, this goes to budget. Mr. Moss, I hope we can help out with these.
You got a lot of work to do, you gotta talk to some people.
Be great. Item C, discussion for planning engineering, that's $10,000 again, David.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll make a motion to move it forward to budget. Second by Commissioner Holmes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item C is going to budget, make a note for that $10,000. All right, good. Parking garage, security cameras. In process, is there anything you want to keep us on all business, we can do a report next month. All right, security cameras for parking garages, keep under all business, if nobody has anything to say. We'll keep those attachments. All right. Discussion, Moseville EMS station reconfiguration status, do I have a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Second by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Klein, all in favor, say aye. All right, Commissioner Klein, I know you had sent an email this afternoon, and didn't get time to get printed. You would, I know this, from this crossroads architecture, just, a disclaimer, this has gone through the law director's office, when you sent it back in November, I think the original email might be in here, it's not, and the law director's office came back with like
3 items.
some items that have to be fixed.
And they have been fixed on this one, Mr. Sidler.
Well, I just want to make a point, this is just for information only, because the county committee's already approved $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been sent to the county mayor's office, even though I think he had a PO that was rejected. So, and why was that rejected? So, do you know how much it was the PO was requested for, the dollar amount?
I don't think it had a dollar amount on it.
Yeah, that's the question, I think it's
$8,000 or $10,000? Okay, so it wasn't removed. Okay. Well, that's good to know, because we approved up to $20,000. I know you had, this guy, around $10,000 to $13,000, so at least if that.
It may have been more than that.
So we don't
It
know.
was less than 20 or not.
Less than 20.
I thought there wasn't even a dollar amount on it, but, and there was,
Yeah, they requested the PO, but when we reviewed the documents, they didn't.
and there were no specifics, there was no detail, it was like almost a blank sheet of paper was what I understood.
I didn't see them.
Yeah.
Well, so basically, one that's in here for comparison, I know that you've asked these people, so we can give the mayor something, at least to compare. If he's spending $18,000 and we know we can get it for $10,000 or $13,000, we're wasting money, so at least I hold him accountable in this process.
Right.
But the money's already been approved, there's nothing for us to do. Without any objection, I'd just like to keep this on whole business for February, so we get a report back of where we're at on this, knowing that the PO got rejected. And we still have not made any progress on this, and we're still, their EMS guys are in a trailer for no reason.
Yeah, and we're spending money on the trailer.
Yeah,
Still there.
it's ridiculous.
All
So, all right, so we're gonna keep that on whole business. Item F, discussion disposal of surplus county property. Donation of shelving units stored in parking lot of jail to Welcome Christian Outreach Center. Motion for discussion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Klein, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Real quick background, look in your packet right here, you can look at the emails that was sent regarding this. This ministry had reached out to the sheriff. Sheriff told him to contact me and Genox. And so he's asking to get whatever these shelving units that are just sitting in the parking lot of the Sumner County Jail. I know Commissioner Klein and Genox had gone through the process of doing the surplus property. We got a resolution, we got a policy, that's all in here. Do we need to put this on the surplus property for other county departments to look for this?
When we donate this to this organization,
Who put them there?
No, they need to be put there because,
No, who put them in the parking lot?
oh, I don't know.
I don't have the answer to that question.
And I forgot to drive by.
So, Mr. Water Record, what recommended steps here? We got somebody who wants something that's just sitting in the sheriff's parking lot evidently, and it's a Christian ministry would like it donated. Can we donate it to them, or do we put it on surface property, for this first?
The whole reason to have a policy is to follow the policy, so I would say that this stuff, why it wasn't initiated before, I don't know, but it needs to be, on the website for 60 days, and then it would be a Gov Deals listing. I believe that's for 30 days. The only way around all of this is if you want to treat it as some sort of nonprofit donation.
They're a 501c3.
They're 501c3.
Right, then what we can do is, based on, this committee, we can send it up as a resolution to donate this shelving to the, 501c3.
Welcome Christian Outreach Center.
Yeah, they only want a few sections or something, I think is what the
So we're stuck with
email.
Right, so you gotta be careful there, you're gonna constantly have people wanting to pick apart what they do. So from a legal standpoint, short of the commission overriding this with a resolution, you've gotta follow the county surplus property. And to be perfectly honest, shelving is something that another department may want.
Yeah.
Because that's all that's gotta happen is once they list it on the county website, any county department can say, I need that, and they can go pick it up. There's nothing else to be done.
Yeah, that's why we did it, so that we didn't have to spend money on new stuff.
So do you guys want to go ahead and put this on the county website?
Yeah.
Interdepartment.
So-
But if nobody needs these,
Then we can talk about donating them.
correct.
Are they sitting outside?
But that's my understanding.
That's a
I mean,
problem.
if they sit outside for 90 days, are they even gonna be useful?
Well, it depends on, are they pallet racking, or, I don't know what they are.
This,
But I will drive by and look.
Commissioner Dale.
if this is, sitting outside, this would be a Gallatin City Codes issue. They need to be put in the proper place, which is a surplus facility and then registered on county site. They don't need to be sitting outside, because that's gonna cause these problems.
Well, it's not like we don't have room, I mean, we
We
got,
can't
we
tell
have
the
3
sheriff what
core
to do.
rooms vacated.
I ain't got time to babysit people. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you, Tim. There's nothing we can do about it. It's sitting in the parking lot.
I mean, we can send an email to the sheriff and say, why are you, I'll drive by tomorrow and then I'll.
You drive by tomorrow.
I will.
It's messing up our system that we created, that if we created the surplus site, it's supposed to go somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to sit outside and look like squalor.
We don't know anything there.
I
So,
do. I'll drive by tomorrow.
It's getting late. What is our plan, what is our next action? What do we need to do in this policy that you guys wrote? I haven't familiarized myself with this.
I will drive by and then.
If we're gonna put this on a government website, our website for interdepartmental use according to this policy, what are next steps, Mr. Longrick?
They would need to get an inventory and listing up to IT, so IT can post it.
Who's that, sheriff's department?
Yeah, whatever department it is, it's got the surplus items.
All right, so I guess I need to follow up with the sheriff on this.
Now, here is one caveat, and I'm gonna use air quotes here. In the event that surplus items are of little or no salvage value, such items are expressly authorized to be destroyed or otherwise put out for waste collection.
There you go.
So it says like you put it out for waste collection.
Correct.
So, you could safely argue that you could let people know, hey, this stuff is out for waste collection, and whatever happens to it after that is.
I'm gonna contact the sheriff and ask him about these shipments.
I will drive by tomorrow morning and then let you know, Jeremy,
All
what.
right, yeah, can you drop by tomorrow, take some photos, send them to me, and then I'll contact the sheriff.
And if they put it out for trash, then I don't know why it's an issue to let them have it.
That's fine. We're good. So let's keep this in the old business for next month. Somebody wants these. If somebody can use them in the county, great. If they can't, but if the proper procedure hasn't been followed, but you're just saying if it's trash, according to our policy, they can be disposed of.
And there's nothing prohibits you from notifying people that you're disposing of.
All right. Keep under old business, all of the Sheriff on the shelves. Next, Liberty Creek easement acquisitions invoice page 133 through 135. That was something that you guys requested on your, the moderators. Hey, Dustin did. Huh? David or Dustin did. What is there actually?
There was some easement, there was some easement for the Liberty Creek schools. The county has spent $597,660 so far. These easements, and we've received an invoice for an additional $104,000.
And that's this invoice on page 135. And who's the invoice from? White House Utility District?
Correct. The county still has an outstanding invoice, but it only has $2,339.66 on it. That wanted us to report that our plan is to pay the remainder that's on the PO and send the invoice to the schools and let them take care of the rest.
Okay. Is there
And
any,
we have, Scott has forwarded that to Don Long.
okay, is there any action for us to take on this, or just, do we need to, like, send it to the budget, or do we need approval, or is it? That why, okay.
Let you know that is out there and we.
So no action.
This will pay the $600,000 that the commission had approved, but we're not planning to pay the additional $102,000. Schools don't submit it.
And this was for sewer easements up,
Acquisition.
yeah,
So the schools owe the 104, is basically what you're saying, you can send it to
neighbors.
$104,000. $104,069.
We'll pay the $2,339.
Okay, so 102. You're subtracting that from the 104.
This goes back to fiscal year 19. The original PO was issued in fiscal year 19. And this one was issued in 2020.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while.
All right. All right, well, I don't think there's any action on that. Do we want to keep this on for, you can just give us a report next month. I'm going to remove this from the agenda. All right, well, we're going to remove that item from the agenda, so we'll take that, consider that. And I don't think we need you guys to get the one in the lead, so, thank you for hanging in there with us. And the last item is discussion of the election commission. Do we need to do an executive session?
Just quickly, if we could, just for the purposes of me getting everybody in line.
All right, we're going to do an executive.
Or,
Back in the session on discussion on, item G, the election commission.
Motion to
Proposal.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Or is it?
You're up.
I think this is a bad idea, moving our, that's a lot of stuff back there, that fenced in stuff. I think leave election right where it's at, because everything went great on election day, with no problems with it. Everybody voted and everything went great, so what's the deal?
We wanted to give the maintenance people a nicer building, a bigger building.
Well, we gotta get,
Well, we should have got our building when Anthony Holt was there. He promised us a brand new maintenance building, but we didn't get it.
We had a perfectly good, huge one.
And we moved over here, I think, twice. We had to move back out every time. We started moving stuff in that little warehouse over there
To where?
to the
TRC building.
election museum. And we had to move right back out because of election. So I think leave election over there. Let them. That's mine.
Well,
And leave archives out.
it's an 18,000 square foot building. They'll still have 3,000 square feet here. And then, so they'll have effectively 21,000 square feet. Where they used to be 3,000 here and what, 2,000 in the basement?
No, I don't think it's that much.
I don't think it's that much either. So maybe they had a total of 4,000 with the old machines, and now they need 20.
I think their intention is to open a central voting for
No,
that.
No, that is our intention long-term. Yes, it is.
Long-term intention is to open a central voting center where everybody goes to one.
They're convenient.
Convenient.
Well, no, that's not central. That's convenient. Is anybody go vote anywhere they want to.
But I'm saying their intention was to have that as that's where you go and vote.
I don't think so.
And there's no parking
That's what I
either.
remember from a couple years ago.
You think about convenience voting centers and things. That's not it. It's not it.
I don't think that was
They
ever.
were never on central. We used to centrally vote here.
And the requirement is they have to be close to a county, a serious county facility like a courthouse or whatever, that's close to the health department.
I just wanted to know that this came out of the ad hoc committee.
It is not,
Yeah.
this is not going to,
But it's archives,
correct, well, the archive building, so my understanding is this yellow spot, obviously the front's where all that stuff is, and this yellow spot is the vaults. And I get the storage spot, that's got all those cages, just dumpster garbage, is 5,000 square feet. Is that what I'm interpreting that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where all the cages are. Yeah. That's everybody's just junk. I mean, that's just storage for leftovers.
Broken chairs.
But what came out of,
All the filing cabinets up there too.
Well, those, a lot of it's going to go to the courthouse's stuff. It needs to go back to the courts.
And one of the biggest bullpens is the Elections Commission in this area.
Commissioner Jones?
nonetheless, what came out of ad hoc is to give them 4,947 square feet, correct? Is this correct? Not this piece of paper, but this came out of
I'm going to let
ad
Commissioner
hoc.
Klein answer that question.
What came out of it was to give them the back warehouse area for them to put their machines.
Which is 4,947.
Well, this is a 15,000 square foot building, and that's more than 5,000 square feet. If this is a 15,000 square foot
We
building.
count multi-layers, you count,
Well, look at it. This
I
is-
can't read those numbers.
Yeah, I can't either, and that's why I was gonna go into my computer, because I've got some numbers in there, but I calculated this area at one point. And, I came up with like 7,500 square feet, so I don't know where the 4947.6 came from.
I just wanna know what we're proposing giving them, because we're gonna vote on this. If we're proposing giving them a space with no square footage attached to it, that's not gonna go over well at all. I wanna know that they've got an acceptable amount of space compared to where they used to be, that it's an increase from where they were, maybe it's a decrease from where they are, but how much? We gotta know this stuff to vote on it.
Well, they're going from 2,000 square feet to 5,000 square feet at minimum at that, more than doubling the space.
I believe Commissioner Klein's numbers
It was 6,200.
encompass the highlighted portion, if I'm reading this correctly, the 4947 is if you take out what he was including in his, which is the highlighted caged area.
Or was he? I don't know.
That's the closest I can come to making any sense of the two numbers.
Okay, that area is 140, almost 143 feet wide. And let me add up these other dimensions.
These are all vaults.
I just can't believe we're ready to propose this to full commission, we don't know how big the building is.
Well, I'm telling you, Tim, I did take off. I'm not telling you I'm not capable of making a mistake.
Well, I know you're good on that, I just thought it'd be printed on something.
The other part, there's vaults in there. Where they keep preservation lab and all kinds of stuff. They really, you can't really use that.
Correct. And nobody's saying that it is. He's questioning this space right here. It's right here. This is it. That's all we're talking about. Nope.
I'm coming up just roughly that what they're calling 4947 is 6,550. So that's just taking 143 times almost 46 feet. So
8, 16, 24. 44. 62.
When's the last time y'all been to the election building?
When we
2
did.
months ago.
Yep.
You see how full it was? Well, I see how they spread it out. I saw how they spread it out here, and they got half of the firehouse.
Yeah, but did you see how,
I can't go over it now.
well, what we're saying, Terry, is they almost used nothing out of the 6,000 square foot that was gonna be their maintenance area. They have the old machines that they're supposed to get rid of.
They're wasting a lot of space.
They're wasting a ton of space.
So, is it any way possible
They kept all the old
keep archive law? Do like y'all was gonna do last time, just put the election in one side and put maintenance in the other side.
Well, that is a possibility, but my point is they have 3,000 square foot of office that they're doing nothing with, because they got 3,000 square foot office, and they can't move this over there because they gotta be a part of an established.
Right, their offices are relatively empty. That's a
Here.
lot of office space, no, over there.
Oh, sure, yeah,
They only use like 1 or 2.
Well,
Here's the problem, Terry. Citizens don't want the election commissions to move their offices out of this building. And it should. It's a county function. It's a bad idea to go over there. It's a terrible location for any citizen to go over there.
It's hard to get to.
The citizens want the election commission to function. They want to come in here and register. They want to come here and do their tags. They want to do all those things here in this building. There should be. And they're fine. There's plenty of space. They spent, I don't know how much money renovating that space a couple years ago. And so it's just a question of where they want to store their stuff. Before they were storing it in that little 2,000 square foot basement. This is a proposal. He's saying it's 6,500 square foot, almost tripling, that space.
These are bigger machines now.
yeah, but
But they still got the old ones too, and they get rid of them.
but they're supposed to get rid of them.
No, they're getting rid of that.
Yeah, they're getting rid of the old ones.
They'll take up a lot of stuff.
That's taking up that whole one back bed.
But what they're saying is, we need the whole 6,000 square foot where maintenance is gonna be to store them, but we need that whole center section to lay them out flat. And my argument, if you read my document, says, why do you need both? You don't need both. You've got one or you've got the other. And the space they've got between machines to walk around it, I mean, they just did everything they could to spread out as much as they could to justify needing the entire 18,000 square foot building so that maintenance couldn't go in there. That's really what they were doing.
They feathered the nest.
I'm getting 150 something, about 40 something. That's roughly 5,000 square feet.
Well, the dimension on my computer is 143 and times 46.
Yeah, so it's not much different, maybe 6,000?
I'm coming up with 6,500, which is still plenty. And I thought that these two vault areas, Terry, I thought that was for somebody else had. I didn't think that was archives.
So where's all that stuff?
It's all
There
archived.
go, in the basement here?
All archived.
All archives?
Yes. The only thing that's not archives is the back, those fences area, that's it. Well, that open space. So basically you're saying it's 5,000 square feet now?
No, I'm saying it's 65.
It's somewhere between 5,000 and 6,500 at least.
So I can change my document to go from, what did I say, 7,000?
I was reading outside the yellow, I was guesstimating the numbers, because it looks like 70 on the side there, and you take out roughly 30 for the yellow, that's 40 by 150 if you add all those little room dimensions up. Like 150 something times 40.
Kind of that's the hallway, right? A little bit like a hallway.
I added up all these little rooms and come up with like 150 something feet, and then that right there, from here to here is 70. So I knocked off 30 and left that as 40.
I'm gonna make a motion, I guess, if that's on page 4 of your report, David Klein, to edit where you say where there's over 7,000 square feet of space, say there's over 5,000 square feet of space.
Okay, I can do that. I can change it. And I can call it Marshall too and see where he's getting his numbers from, because it doesn't add
Have
up.
a second for that?
Second.
All fair say aye. Any opposed? All right, so we just changed that this tomorrow.
Okay. I'll get it to you tomorrow.
You know what we're talking about.
Motion to adjourn.
We're not done talking, are we done talking about this yet?
Well, we just voted.
No, we voted on my amendment, to change that, we didn't vote on the whole thing.
Wasn't even like a trying.
Sorry, highway and emergency services campus.
Yeah, it's all our fault.
It is.
So that's gonna change, your totals too, David.
Yeah. I'll call, Marshall first thing in the morning and we'll get a consensus on that square footage.
We're gonna start the legislative. Fair.
It's, that's where it needs to go next. If y'all are wanting to send it, then,
Well, I mean, I got a question. I want to ask Terry a question. So, being a former maintenance guy, if you had still been here as an employee, like, where was your head before when we were trying to give the maintenance people at TCR building to give them more space? Were you for that back then? I want to try to get at least a consensus out of this committee to see what's changed and what could be, where we need to go to try to get a consensus. Were you for that back then?
When the maintenance could go over there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the maintenance, that's still what we want to do, right?
Yes.
We're still trying to get the maintenance over there.
Yes.
You see all this trouble that it caused since we was trying?
Well, it caused trouble though, because we had an authority a non-authority outside of government telling us we couldn't do what we knew we could do. And so, in order to set precedent to keep that from happening, we need to exercise our right as a commission to do what we're authorized to do, which is control who gets what buildings and give the maintenance that building like we wanted. If not, we're letting an outside entity tell a government entity what we can and can't do. And I don't think that's right, because it sets bad precedent. If we leave them alone, they win and the authority of the commission gets undermined. That's what I have a problem with letting it stay the way it was. They just say if they fight long enough, they get to keep it even though it was wrong. I'll never admit it was wrong, and it sounds like you were thinking it was wrong back when you were a maintenance man and thought it was a good idea to give the maintenance field there. You thought it was wrong too. You thought the maintenance man should deserve it. Till all this stuff came out. But we didn't cause this stuff. We got sued by an outside authority that had no say-so. And I don't want to let that stand. I want to do what we originally wanted to do, and I want to give that building to the maintenance people.
So you're gonna give all that building to maintenance?
No, a large portion of it.
Just the back.
A lot bigger than what they have.
So what do you do with the rest of it?
We even discussed that.
We haven't determined that yet.
The part that was more suitable for the maintenance people was going to go to the maintenance. The part that was going to be office space and other could be used for something else. But everything got, well, I don't think we got that far. We didn't even get to decide who gets the other half. And is it still on the table?
Problem is on a lawsuit that's wrongful, trying to say we can't dictate what we do. The state law says we can do whatever we want to with county property. It's our job, not the county mayor, not the school board, not the courts.
Not the Lexington.
We have a judge who's inherent in this process, unfortunately, that is overstepped the authority. By your admission, basically what we've seen is agreed that we have the authority to where departments go. There's lawsuits out there. Sheriff's departments have been sued over this and lost. County commission dictates the spot. And so we just kind of got stuck in this vortex. We're trying to come up with a solution. The solution is, the problem is they want to move the entire operation over there, which is a bad idea. So their administrative function needs to stay here at a minimum. And it comes down to their space. They don't need 18,000 square feet of space for these machines. They only need a couple thousand square feet. And that's where we're coming down the argument at this point. Unfortunately, we've not been able to have that argument in a civil manner. And so, support it, don't support it. I don't know.
They're forcing us to play hardball.
You know, at this point, it's just figuring out where to put, we're trying to satisfy the lawsuit at this point.
The sad thing was, is we had a tenant in there paying $100,000 a year, and it still left the back $6,000 available for the maintenance.
Correct.
That was the ideal thing.
Correct.
But the mayor, who had no right to do it,
Correct.
Previous.
the previous mayor, he said, I'm not gonna renew TRC's contract for the property. I'm gonna basically kick them out. I'm gonna move the elections commission in, and then they said, well, we want the whole thing. We want the whole 18,000 square.
And that messed with the main.
But he just say that we was control over the building, that,
Yeah, we do.
well, I mean, how did this all get started then, about getting sued and?
Because you had a county mayor Mayor Holt did something he didn't have authority to do. You had a commission who allowed him, the previous commission allowed him to do it, and usurped his authority. You had an election commission, do something they weren't allowed to do by law.
Yeah, but.
I mean, that's where we're at.
I don't understand it. Hope ain't got nothing to do with this.
No, he started all this.
He started it,
No,
and now we're trying to undo it, and it's costing me.
I think the question he's asking, how did it get to what it is now?
Yeah.
And that started because Chairman Hyde had asked my office to draft a letter saying that there was going to be a relocation and that we were planning on moving them within X days, and we want to facilitate a peaceful way to do this. And once we sent that letter out, they sued us.
Because when they saw we were getting ready to put the maintenance people over there, they jumped and moved everything up there.
To keep the maintenance.
Keep the maintenance people from going in there.
And
And
the
because
judge,
it's done so wrong, we want to make it right to set precedent to where other people understand that the law is on our side, that it's in our purview to say, it's in your purview to say what gets done with county buildings. It's not the mayor's, it's not other entities. We get to decide.
So,
And if we let it go, it's going to really affect precedent with the way things go in the future.
So, Mr. Law Director, here's where we're at. What do we need to do? I mean, do we need to send this to the commission or no? You just tell the judge we can't do anything? I don't know.
I just don't know what he's gonna say. If that's what you're asking, any kind of reasonable, outcome from nothing getting through is, I have no clue. We're in uncharted waters here.
But do we even want to send this to the commission, yes or no?
Well, this needs to go to legislative.
I think it's worth it, passing it out. I just want a consensus.
Do we have a motion to send this to legislative?
motion to send it.
Second.
With modifications.
With modification.
Correct.
And I will take care of those tomorrow.
Okay, and you'll get that to law director's office to get the legislative.
Just getting the correct square footage on
All right.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll move.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Opposed?